to inquire in this direction before. He concluded that he was still too kind-hearted, intrinsically a good person, never having considered actively harming others. It was only through He Tang's self-destructive inspiration that he had this sudden epiphany. Indeed, proximity to the morally corrupt can taint one's own spirit. Suppressing his excitement, he asked, "What method?" System ding. In response to the host's request, a special item. The curse transfer card has been created. It requires 50,000 popularity points for redemption. The special item has been generated. Please check the redemption mall. Lin Chun immediately accessed the redemption mall interface and located the curse transfer card. Upon reading the description, he learned that this card was a consumable. Once redeemed, it would last for 72 hours. During this period, by using the card, he could transfer the generated side effects of the curse onto any person or object. Regardless of whether the card was used or not, it would automatically become invalid after 72 hours. 50,000 popularity points is not an exorbitant sum, yet as a consumable, the cumulative cost is indeed staggering over time. However, it is certainly preferable to reciting the curse excessively and becoming a vessel of bad luck. Lin Chun promptly redeemed one and chose to use it. Instantly, a mysterious sensation enveloped him, accompanied by a surge of renewed confidence. I am back in action. He neatly adjusted the bedding around him, assuming a tranquil posture, closed his eyes, and began to silently curse. He Tang was undoubtedly the prime candidate. Today, I shall deliver a severe blow, 5 minutes, and transfer the side effects. Next, it was Pei Qian's daughter, Pei Shanshan. With assassins at my disposal, who else could I target? 5 minutes, with side effect transfer. And then there is Luo Xianyi. Though she may be beautiful, since she is a killer who has come to hunt me down, I shall not hesitate to strike her down. A full VIP treatment, 15 minutes with side effect transfer. Upon finishing with Luo Xianyi, Lin Chun felt a significant depletion of his mental energy and began to feel dizzy. Nevertheless, he gritted his teeth and persisted. Next were the 3 Zheng Taiyu, each receiving 3 minutes with side effect transfer. Finally, there were Fan Mao Mao, Poison Brother, and other streamers, each receiving 2 minutes. Having completed the recitation, Lin Chun's face turned pale, and the tissue stuffed in his nostrils became soaked with blood. Yet he wore a relieved smile as he drifted into a deep slumber. Time passed, and Lin Chun was abruptly awakened by the sound of his phone ringing. Glancing at his backup phone, he realized it was just past 3 in the morning. The call was from Zhong Wenzhou. He answered immediately. "What's wrong, calling so late?" Zhong Wenzhou's voice was tense. "There has been an incident in Qing City. Luo Xianyi truly is a star. Her vigilance is extraordinary. She had set up very discreet warning devices near the camp, and our people were detected as soon as they approached. Fortunately, we were well prepared and with firepower suppression. Combined with her apparent physical discomfort, we ultimately managed to apprehend her. However, half an hour ago, during the escort, the comrades in the vehicle suddenly became poisoned and fell unconscious, leading to a rollover that allowed her to escape. Currently, her whereabouts remain unknown, and we are still in pursuit. Although the likelihood is slim, you must exercise caution. I fear she may come to Sichuan to seek you out." Lin Chun's brow twitched anxiously, utterly astonished. Is Luo Xianyi truly that formidable? He had cast a mid-level curse of misfortune for a full 15 minutes. Yet she still managed to evade capture? He soon realized that the curse of misfortune was not infallible. It could alter a person's fate and incite various unforeseen accidents. For an ordinary person, it was practically insurmountable. However, for those with superior skills and caution, the curse's effects were indeed limited. Just as he, even if someone were to cast a spell upon him, would likely respond swiftly and handle any unexpected changes with composure. It should be the same for Luo Xianyi. One could only say that this woman was indeed extraordinary, possessing skills and adaptability far beyond the norm, managing to escape the torment of the curse of misfortune. After telling Zhong Wenzhou on the phone that he understood, Lin Chun hung up. He then inquired of Xiaoji, "Xiaoji, where is Luo Xianyi now?" Xiaoji replied, "Currently, it is impossible to locate her. After Luo Xianyi escaped, she immediately shut down all electronic devices on her person. By the time I managed to pinpoint her location through satellite monitoring, she had already vanished from sight." Lin Chun expressed his disbelief. That region is a Gobi desert. How could the monitoring satellites fail to locate her? Xiaoji explained, "Luo Xianyi likely came prepared, wearing camouflage clothing with strong anti-detection capabilities. Moreover, since it is night, even monitoring satellites would struggle to track her." Lin Chun was left speechless. Xiaoji was powerful, yet there were limitations. Once disconnected from the network, facing an opponent like Luo Xianyi, he would be at a loss. Under normal circumstances, one would not dare to return to Sichuan knowing their identity had been exposed. Yet Lin Chen had a strong premonition that Luo Xianyi would indeed come looking for him, and with lethal intent. For she was no ordinary person. Lin Chen even suspected that this woman exhibited signs of a split personality, defying conventional logic. He calculated the time. Even if Luo Xianyi were to fly from Qingshi to Litong, it would take her at least a day or two to arrive. For now, he felt relatively safe. However, if he still had Li Xiao and Schwer with him, that safety would be compromised. Upon this realization, Lin Chen felt a wave of frustration. No wonder the comments often wished him eternal singleness. Indeed, traversing this path with women was fraught with inconveniences. Simultaneously, he felt exasperated with Zhong Wenzhou, who had not taken his earlier words seriously. He had already stated that if they could kill, they should do so. Yet they still entertained the idea of capturing her alive. How ironic. At that moment, Xiaoji suddenly spoke up. Dad, your Fengyin account just received a private message from an ID named Floating Like a Fairy, which may be Luo Xianyi. Lin Chen raised an eyebrow, pulling out his spare phone to check the account. Upon opening the message from Floating Like a Fairy, he found a single line. I await you at Badong. Regardless of victory or defeat, only life and death shall be decided, Xianyi. Lin Chen furrowed his brow, asking, have you managed to track her? Xiaoji replied. We were a step too late. She likely sent the message and then immediately powered down her device. Lin Chen pondered briefly, then chuckled. It appears she seeks to challenge me to a duel. Xiaoji, do you believe her words hold any truth? Xiaoji responded, from the analysis of her diary. Luo Xianyi possesses a strong desire for competition. The reason she initially joined the Underworld Network was to confront 9-star assassins and validate her own prowess. The 4 deceased 9-star assassins were all defeated by her in direct confrontations. Thus, she likely views you as a new target, with a more than 95% chance of engaging in open combat. Upon hearing this, Lin Chen felt reassured. He then lay back down and began reciting the mid-level curse of misfortune once more. Meanwhile, in Diha City, a young man with a delicate visage, carrying a travel backpack, casually discarded a broken phone card into a roadside trash bin before entering a 4-star hotel. He handed his ID to the drowsy, weary-eyed receptionist and spoke in a somewhat subdued tone. 1 single room, please. As a tourist city, it was quite normal for someone to check in at such an hour. The receptionist examined the young man, finding no issues, and after he passed the facial recognition check of the security system, she completed the check-in process. The young man smiled politely, thanked her, and took the room key as he entered the elevator. This was, in fact, Luo Xianyi after undergoing disguise. At that moment, not only had her body shape and height changed, but even her facial contours were notably different from before. If one were to scrutinize her face closely, they might detect slight traces of makeup. It could be said that she had fully mastered the great art of disguise among the 4 wicked arts, capable of deceiving anyone. Inside the elevator, Luo Xianyi suddenly felt a sharp pain in her abdomen, akin to steel balls churning within her, prompting her to clutch her belly. Her complexion paled slightly. As a woman, experiencing pain during certain days each month was normal. However, the intensity today was unlike anything she had ever endured. Had she been an ordinary woman, she would have struggled to even stand, let alone walk. Had it not been for this, she might not have been captured earlier. Upon entering her room, Luo Xianyi meticulously inspected every corner, ensuring there were no hidden surveillance devices, before retrieving 2 packets of motherwort granules from her backpack, dissolving them in water to drink. However, it proved fruitless. The pain only intensified. Even someone as powerful as she could not help but collapse onto the bed, curling up and groaning, drenched in cold sweat. After a while, she changed into a set of comfortable pajamas and continued to wrap herself in the blanket, groaning softly. Thousands of miles away, if Lin Chen were to discover Luo Xianyi's current predicament, he would likely muse that this was not merely a curse of misfortune. It was akin to a tightening spell. No, rather, a confinement spell. After reciting the curse of misfortune for another 10 minutes, Lin Chen drifted off to sleep. At 7:30 in the morning, Lin Chen awoke punctually. Rising from bed, he entered the bathroom, brushing his teeth while scrolling through the headlines for news. The first headline that caught his eye read, Breaking news. He Tang, president of Jishuan Group, was urgently hospitalized due to carbon monoxide poisoning last night and is currently out of critical condition. He promptly clicked to read more, but found only a brief statement without further details, leaving him somewhat disappointed. As he continued scrolling, he came across news regarding the 5-star group. Zheng Xianghe, who had been hospitalized due to a car accident, was reported to have a nurse inject a large amount of air into his foredrip. Although the situation was discovered in time and rescue efforts were made, he had not yet fully escaped danger. After interrogation, It was revealed that the involved nurse had acted out of revenge after suffering significant losses from investing in five-star group stocks, abandoning her family, and going missing. Simultaneously, the former president of five-star group, Zhang Teiyu, who was in the same hospital, suffered a heart attack upon hearing this news and was currently under emergency treatment. Furthermore, a well-known actress from the Mida country was found dead from carbon monoxide poisoning, leaving behind a lengthy suicide note that accused Zheng Xiangnan and other tycoons of inhumane treatment, claiming she had lost her dignity as a human being and chose to end her life. The simultaneous troubles befalling the three prominent figures of the five-star group caused a significant uproar in Mida country. Particularly, the incident involving Zheng Xiangnan sparked a renewed wave of anti-tycoon sentiment, with countless individuals flooding the streets, brandishing banners to protest and demanding severe punishment for Zheng Xiangnan. In response, relevant departments in Mida country have stated that they have initiated an investigation based on the actress's suicide note. After reading the news, Lin Chen found himself puzzled. Although Zheng Xiangnan was once again embroiled in controversy, his reputation tarnished, how could he remain unscathed? This seemed illogical. It is hardly conceivable that Zheng Xiangnan, much like Luo Xianyi, merely presents himself as a tycoon while secretly embodying the persona of a nocturnal vigilante akin to Batman. Lin Chen, dismissing further contemplation, expelled the foam from his mouth and rinsed it out before continuing to peruse. He discovered, to his surprise, that his appearance on the evening news had propelled him into the realm of social media conversations. In addition, there were reports of Bai Qiyuan's arrest, the apprehension of the Jiao Tu-Long gang, and the suspected appearance of Pei Shanshan in his livestream, where she was interviewed by Zhao Hanhua. The array of content served as a veritable boon for the self-media bloggers, providing them with a wealth of traffic. To his disappointment, however, there was no news regarding the capture of He Chun and his associates, which seemed rather implausible. He then clicked into the Fengyin Hall chat group and noticed a notification from 99, which brightened his eyes, indicating that something noteworthy or troublesome had occurred. Scrolling upward, he was immediately confronted with a photograph of Fan Mao Mao, her head in her hands, bloodied and battered. Chapter 309, A Momentous Invitation. I still plan to hike. After reviewing the chat history, Lin Chun grasped the gist of the situation. Following the collapse of Fan Mao Mao's public persona, she had, unable to sleep the previous night, called upon two local streamer friends to go out for drinks and late-night snacks. Coincidentally, they were recognized by two individuals at a nearby table, who had once been fans of Fan Mao Mao but had now turned into detractors. These two had already indulged in copious amounts of alcohol and were vocally deriding Fan Mao Mao, their words laced with venom. Fan Mao Mao, already in a foul mood, could no longer contain herself upon hearing their remarks and confronted them, demanding they watch their language. Fueled by alcohol, one of the men, upon realizing it was Fan Mao Mao, picked up a beer bottle and struck her on the head. Chaos ensued, resulting in both parties being apprehended by the local authorities. The related photographs, for reasons unknown, found their way into Fan Mao Mao's fan group and rapidly circulated within the Fengyin livestream chat. Naturally, this ignited fervent discussion within the Fengyin Hall. In these changing times, many streamers no longer felt the need to spare Fan Mao Mao's feelings, resulting in a flurry of sarcastic comments and ridicule within the group. Some speculated how the photo could have leaked, given that only a handful of individuals were present at the scene, including the two streamers who had dined with Fan Mao Mao, one a lesser-known female streamer, and the other the game's streamer Blind Emperor. Speculations arose that the female streamer might be responsible, as women are often drawn to gossip and tend to act impulsively. Others suggested Blind Emperor might have leaked it, as it is well known that a true friend may betray you when intoxicated. Lin Chen, feeling the urge to comment but ultimately deciding against it, exited the chat. After completing his morning routine, he descended to find Zhao Hanhua and others having breakfast. Their eyes met, resulting in a moment of awkwardness. Lin Chen quietly grabbed a few large buns and a carton of milk. Just as he settled down, Zhao Hanhua sat directly across from him, her plate in hand, silently observing him with a smile that was neither wholly friendly nor unfriendly. After taking a bite of his bun, Lin Chen feigned nonchalance and asked, "Why do you gaze at me so?" Zhao Hanhua's sparkling eyes danced with amusement as she replied, "That message from last night. You sent it, didn't you?" Puzzled, Lin Chen responded, "What message?" Zhao Hanhua, with a playful pout, retorted, "Stop pretending." At that moment, Shuer was live streaming, and Li Xiao was in the frame. "Do enlighten me. Who sent me that message?" Caught off guard, Lin Chen sheepishly admitted, "I was indeed a bit fatigued at the time, and wasn't quite sure how to decline." Zhao Hanhua regarded him with keen interest, remarking, "The audience in the live stream referred to you as the patriarch. Clearly, They misjudged you. You are quite the righteous individual. No wonder you have garnered such a following. Then, with a hint of disdain, she added, unlike some, who appear as gentlemen but are quite the opposite in private. Lin Shan fell silent, opting not to respond. This recent unraveling of public personas was not limited to Fan Mao Mao alone. Zhao Hanhua's gaze shifted, revealing an unusual intensity. I genuinely wanted to engage with you more last night, and not in that sense. I merely wished to understand you better. Your experiences are quite legendary, and I find myself curious. Her candor was striking. Lin Shan felt a mix of amusement and exasperation. What was there to discuss? Hadn't he heard the proverb about misinterpretations in the melon field? One might begin with a harmless conversation, only for it to devolve into something entirely inappropriate. He replied, truthfully, I am just an ordinary person. There is no need for such in-depth understanding. Zhao Hanhua blinked playfully, a smile gracing her lips. What? Afraid I might develop feelings for you, like Sister Yi? Lin Shan raised an eyebrow. You know Yi Xiaoxi? Zhao Hanhua responded, I interviewed her once, and we became friends. She even called me last night, asking why I hadn't informed her about interviewing you. Thinking of Yi Xiaoxi brought a smile to Lin Shan's face. It had been over a day since they parted ways. He wondered if she had readjusted to the fast-paced life of the city. Suddenly, Zhao Hanhua recalled something and said, Oh, Director Zhang from the Spring Festival Gala called me last night, asking if you would be interested in performing a song at this year's gala. Lin Shan was taken aback. Others who had just arrived, including Li Ziao and Shuer, who had overheard this statement, were equally stunned. As were countless viewers tuning into Shuer's livestream. The two women exchanged incredulous glances, both in shock. The chatroom fell into an abrupt silence. The Spring Festival Gala is no ordinary event. It typically requires 6 months of meticulous preparation, from selecting directors to determining stage aesthetics, performers, and finalizing the program list, which entails a rigorous selection process. Even rehearsals can span 5 to 6 instances, and if a director or judging panel is dissatisfied after the third run, a performance may still be replaced. The emotional toll of dedicating half a year to rehearsals only to be cut in the final stages is something only the performers themselves can comprehend. Thus, despite the fact that a small segment in the Spring Festival Gala only lasts a few minutes, the effort and time spent by the performers are beyond most people's imagination. As it was now late September, inviting Lin Shan at this point was somewhat late in the process, likely disrupting the entire schedule, necessitating a redo of many components. When someone is added last minute, it inevitably leads to others being dropped. Nonetheless, for Lin Shan, this presented an extraordinary opportunity. Both Li Ziao and Shuer firmly believed in Lin Shan's capabilities. Once he took to the Spring Festival stage, he would undoubtedly achieve nationwide acclaim, becoming a household name. His popularity would surely experience a qualitative leap. In comparison, the carnival organized by Fengyin paled in significance. At this moment, due to Lin Shan not streaming, many of his fans had congregated in Shuer's livestream. Following a brief silence, the chat erupted. Wow, the Spring Festival Gala has invited Lin Shan. Incredible. Once he steps onto that stage, Lin Shan is bound to soar to new heights. I haven't typed that phrase in a while because many deemed it childish. But I must say it again, Lin Shan YYDS. He has done it. Congratulations to Lin Shan for being the first internet celebrity to grace the Spring Festival Gala. Amidst the flurry of comments, Lin Shan pondered for a moment, then expressed his regret, saying, I'm sorry, but please convey to Director Zhang that I won't be able to attend this year's Spring Festival Gala. This statement left the three women present utterly bewildered. Zhao Hanhua's eyes widened, and she inhaled sharply, stating earnestly, there are so many singers in the music industry. Yet only a handful ever get to perform at the Spring Festival Gala. If we define your identity as an internet celebrity, then you would be the very first to ascend that stage as one. Are you truly willing to forego such an opportunity? Lin Shan, visibly exasperated, replied, It's not that I don't want to go. I simply lack the time and energy to participate in the repeated rehearsals for the Spring Festival Gala. I still have hiking plans. At that moment, a few news channel staff members who had been eavesdropping from a distance burst into laughter, one of them spitting out their tea. One by one, they gazed at Lin Shan with the eyes reserved for monsters. The audience, who had been fervently spamming comments, regardless of their location, were utterly dumbfounded. What the hell? I still have to walk. Why don't you just say you want to fly to the heavens? Can a mere walk compare to performing at the Spring Festival Gala? Just how much do you value the role of a walking streamer? Will you die if you don't walk? This goes beyond dedication or dreams. It's sheer obsession. Chapter 310, A Twist of Fate. An irresistible offer. Lin Shan felt genuinely helpless. The Spring Festival Gala was indeed a splendid opportunity to boost one's popularity. Countless individuals had skyrocketed to fame by gracing its stage. In terms of the broken window theory, it would be far more effective than him performing 10 or 8 times. If it were merely a temporary performance, he could exchange for a few day-use rest cards to make a quick trip back and forth. However, if it followed the usual process, stretching over 2 to 3 months, that was simply untenable. Thus, he had no choice but to decline. As Lin Shen's words reached the ears of the audience in Schwerer's livestream, the comments section erupted. Wait, what? Did I mishear? Did Lin Shen really refuse the Spring Festival Gala? In all. If anyone else said this, I would think it's pretentious, but when Lin Shen says it, I believe it. He is absolutely serious. Oh my goodness, I'm so moved. What spirit? Lin Shen, hurry and go live. I'll even take out a small loan to support you. Damn it. If Lin Shen had worked this hard during my school days, I wouldn't be stuck working under a fat supervisor every day. Lin Shen epitomizes what it means to love one's craft. He is simply too dedicated. Thank you. Lin Shen. I've been enlightened. If even Lin Shen is working so hard, what reason do I have not to strive? I'll tell my aunt that I've come to terms with it. At that moment, Schwerer noticed the barrage of comments in the live stream and gasped softly. She realized that her earlier conversation had inadvertently been broadcasted. She quickly said, Chen Chen, what you just said was heard by the audience. Lin Shen waved his hand dismissively. So what if they heard? Also, could you please refrain from calling me Chen Chen? Thank you. Zhao Hennins glanced at Schwerer's phone, her eyes reflecting a sense of resignation. Lin Shen's words had likely sealed his fate. Not to mention, Director Zhang was a top-tier director in the country and had a reputation to uphold. She nodded and said, all right, I'll inform Director Zhang. But it was indeed a pity. She couldn't help but sigh, unable to comprehend why Lin Shen would relinquish such a golden opportunity. Yet, everyone has their aspirations. Similar situations had occurred before. Lin Shen smiled faintly and continued to eat his breakfast. Li Xiao and Schwerer joined him, bringing their breakfast to the table. Zhao Hennins, whose personality was cheerful and approachable, chatted with the two women as they ate, treating Schwerer, a mere streamer, with no hint of disdain. Before long, the three had become quite familiar. Upon learning that Zhao Hennins knew Yi Xiaoxi, their camaraderie blossomed, almost to the point of sisterhood. Lin Shen mused that it was no wonder Zhao Hennins and Yi Xiaoxi had become friends. Success is never purely coincidental, and she certainly possessed a talent for socializing. Their breakfast lingered longer than expected. Just as they finished, Zhao Hennins' phone suddenly rang. Upon seeing the caller ID, she froze for a moment and instinctively glanced at Lin Shen. She then stepped aside to answer the call, returning shortly to hand the phone to Lin Shen. Her gaze was peculiar as she said, It's Director Zhang. He wishes to speak with you privately. Upon hearing this, the livestream comments surged once more. That esteemed director hasn't he given up yet? Lin Shen felt a twinge of surprise as he took the phone and moved aside. Hello, Director Zhang. This is Lin Shen. A robust voice came through. Hello, I am Zhang Yinrong. I tend to be straightforward, so I won't beat around the bush. The reason I wish to invite you to participate in the Spring Festival Gala is simple. It is a program for the people. From the moment I took over this year's gala, I aim to make it more relatable. Your popularity and character meet our selection criteria, particularly your outstanding efforts in promoting positive energy, marking you as an exemplary representative among contemporary streamers. Furthermore, you possess significant musical talent. I personally adore your rendition of The Blooming Life, which radiates an uplifting spirit. I sincerely hope you can perform this song at the gala. At this point, Zhang Yinrong paused, lowering his voice slightly. Moreover, there's another crucial reason. Someone from above has recommended you, believing you to be one of the best candidates for this year's Spring Festival Gala. Lin Shen's heart stirred as he understood the implication. This was a kind gesture from higher-ups. Had it not been for their endorsement, Zhang Yinrong likely would not have mustered the courage to make this call after their earlier conversation had been broadcasted. Before Lin Shen could respond, Zhang Yinrong continued. I've listened to all the songs you've performed on your livestream. With your vocal prowess, provided we settle on a song, it wouldn't matter much if there were no extensive rehearsals. Therefore, if you can arrive in Beijing in the last couple of days before the gala for a brief rehearsal to acclimate to the stage, it should suffice. What do you think? With Zhang Yinrong laying it all out, Lin Shen found it impossible to decline. He promptly replied, Thank you, Director Zhang. I'll follow your arrangements. Zhang Yinrong chuckled on the other end. Excellent. It's settled then. Our staff will contact you regarding the round-trip tickets and other arrangements. We will cover all expenses. When we meet, we can discuss further. For now, I want to keep you. Take care. After Lin Shen replied with a courteous acknowledgement and hung up, he returned to the table and handed the phone back to Zhao Hennins. Her eyes sparkled with anticipation as she asked, Did it go well? Lin Shen sat down, smiling as he said, Director Zhang was quite insistent. I had no choice but to comply. The moment those words left his mouth, the three women present revealed genuine smiles of joy for Lin Shun. The livestream comments exploded yet again. What the heck? I thought there was no hope. But now it seems there's a twist. Lin Shun is amazing. Director Zhang personally called to invite him. That has some serious clout. Ha ha ha, in previous years. We never knew who would perform until the show started. Lin Shun is giving us a sneak peek. Hurry, Lin Shun, tell us what you plan to perform. Singing or kicking a rugged vehicle? What the hell, kicking a rugged vehicle? But if you really do that, it will definitely be an unforgettable performance. I think Lin Shun should teach the audience some legendary dating tips to help solve the romantic woes of single young people. Lin Shun reflected on the situation. Perhaps this was destiny. He had sung so many songs, and Director Zhang had recognized the brilliance of the blooming life. Rest assured, Brother Foam, there will be no unexpected twists this time. I shall ensure this headline is achieved. Chapter 311, Astonishing. Can you really earn money from live streaming? After finishing breakfast, Zhao Hennins and the others began to pack up and prepare to leave. Lin Shun and the others escorted them to the minibus. Just before boarding, Zhao Hennins opened her arms with a beaming smile, looking at Lin Shun. According to your live streaming style, shouldn't we share a hug before we depart? Upon hearing this, Li Xiao and Schwerer exchanged peculiar glances at Lin Shun. The audience in Schwerer's live stream burst into laughter, flooding the comments with playful jests. Lin Shun firmly refuted. This is absolutely not my live streaming style. It's a complete miscommunication. Zhao Henin smiled mischievously, extending her hand. Then let us shake hands. Goodbye. Lin Shun stepped forward and gently shook her hand, lost in thought as he watched her get into the car. This was the way of the Song dynasty. And Zhao Hanhai was no different. Do women enjoy digging into others' palms when they shake hands? Or is there some special significance to it? Upon returning to the hotel, Lin Shun and his companions each tidied their belongings before heading downstairs to check out. The hotel owner adamantly refused to accept payment, and they ultimately had to let it go. The trio resumed their trek on foot, encountering scenery much like that of the previous day. Lin Shun began a live stream, introducing the day's itinerary as they walked. Dear viewers, this afternoon we should be able to reach the summit of Haizi Mountain and behold the renowned Sisters Lake. In the local dialect of Sichuan, Haizi means lake, and it is named Haizi Mountain because over 1,000 lakes of varying sizes are scattered throughout, making it the most densely packed region in Tang Country. Sisters Lake consists of two interconnected lakes, also known as Eyeglass Lake, resembling two drops of a goddess's tears, nestled amidst snow-capped peaks, pure and unblemished. Once we descend from the Haizi Mountain Pass, we will walk as far as we can and find a place to rest. Tomorrow, we shall arrive at Badong County. He silently added to himself, tomorrow, I can finally encounter Luo Xianyi. The thought of Luo Xianyi left Lin Shun feeling somewhat overwhelmed. He had inquired more than once with Xiao Ji about any traces of Luo Xianyi, but the response was always negative. Meanwhile, there had been no updates from the Ingui division, and had they captured Luo Xianyi, old Zhong would have surely called to share the news. This highlighted Luo Xianyi's exceptional counter-surveillance skills. As an assassin, she was indeed underutilized and ought to be a spy instead. Glimpsing the barrage of comments, Lin Shun noticed many viewers inquiring about his participation in the Spring Festival Gala. He explained, I should be attending the gala, but I won't disclose the specifics of my performance just yet. Until the last moment, no one can guarantee that I won't be eliminated. Upon hearing this, the chat erupted with excitement, filled with comments like 666 and awesome. Soon after, many shifted their focus to the incident involving Fan Mao Mao from the previous night. Before Lin Shun could respond, the comments overflowed with schadenfreude. Serves him right. That guy deserves an award. I was lucky enough to see the live photos in a certain streamer's fan group late at night, and I laughed so hard I nearly choked. Fan Mao Mao once revealed that his real name is Fan Ping, and during his peak popularity, he jokingly referred to himself as Flathead Brother. Now, it seems he has truly become Bottlehead Brother. I can't believe it. Is Fan Mao Mao's real name really Fan Ping? He still can't compete. If he had my skills, not even a beer bottle would stand a chance, let alone a gas can. Honestly, getting hit by a bottle really hurts. My girlfriend used to love wearing short skirts, and I warned her about the dangers of walking alone at night. One night, she got into trouble, and I was hit on the forehead with a bottle by her husband. I have a scar to this day. Lin Shun, observing these comments, chuckled and remarked. As for Fan Mao Mao's situation, let me say this. When out and about, it's essential to be kind to others. If possible, avoid resorting to violence. Losing means hospitalization, while winning could lead to prison. As soon as he spoke, the audience erupted in laughter. You're the last person qualified to preach kindness. Can you count how many people you've sent away? Lin Shen, you didn't think this way when you clashed with the Long Yaowu gang, did you? This statement isn't entirely baseless. Think about it. How many times has Lin Shen sent someone away without resorting to violence? Don't let Lin Shen's toxic wisdom fool you. Being kind only invites others to take advantage. A real man must learn to endure and, when pushed too far, respond with decisive action to reclaim dignity. Before Lin Shen could speak again, some individuals were promptly banned by Xiao Ji for 24 hours. Not long after, a wave of gifts began pouring in. The stock trading group generously gifted 2 carnivals. The stock trading group from Jiangnan sent 2 carnivals. The stock trading group's Lele also wants to win sent 3 carnivals. Over 50 IDs prefixed with stock trading group popped up, followed by numerous comments expressing gratitude towards Lin Shen. The live stream became a frenzy. It became apparent that this group had likely profited by shorting the Jiesuan group the previous night and had come to Lin Shen's stream to express their gratitude. The uniform prefix indicated they were likely acting in unison from a shared group. Indeed, last night, after the stock market opened in Saichi Nation, due to the issues surrounding by Chiyuan, Yamamoto Chiaomu, and the Qingfeng Hall operation team, Jiesuan stock price plummeted by another 7%. Anyone daring enough to short it would have reaped substantial rewards. Many viewers, seeing the profits made, eagerly sought to join. Observing this, Lin Shen frowned. After thanking the givers, he stated, Xiao Ji, ban all IDs with the stock trading group prefix for 3 days. While I appreciate your gifts, I cannot overlook the fact that you are spamming my stream with such prefixes. I must remind everyone that while making money through stock trading is commendable, no one is so altruistic as to share tips on making money widely. In the online world, be cautious about whom you trust. If anyone gets scammed due to adding these individuals and suffers financial loss, I will not be held accountable. Upon hearing this, many viewers contemplating adding friends to join the group suddenly became much more cautious. Lin Shen was uncertain whether this group was indeed a scam. Perhaps they were merely enthusiastic stock trading fans who had adopted that prefix. However, in today's world rife with online scams, it was necessary for him to issue a warning. Lin Shen understood that while his caution might deter many, some would still harbor hopes of easy gains. If they fell victim, they could only blame themselves. Just then, Sister Shi from Modu sent 200 carnivals. Modu Shi. Thank you, Lin Shen. She then dropped a huge red envelope worth 100,000 in the stream. The chat erupted once again. Wow, Big Yizong also made a move last night, sending 200 at once. How much did he earn? I regret it so much. If it weren't for my wife pressuring me, I would have borrowed 200,000 to invest in stocks last night. Once, an opportunity to get rich was right in front of me, and I didn't cherish it. If I had another chance, I would say, She sister, lead me. Not far away, Li Xiao glanced at Lin Shen and took out her phone. The clever little one sent 100 carnivals. The clever little one. Thank you. Lin Shen. Schwer blushed and pulled out a spare phone. Schwer on foot sent 100 carnivals. Schwer on foot. Thank you, Lin Shen. The chat erupted once more. Lin Shen stared at the gifts and comments on the screen, momentarily stunned. He looked at Li Xiao and the others. Are you two investing in stocks as well? Li Xiao, feeling shy, replied, I borrowed 5 million from a friend last night and used 10 times leverage. Schwer, also blushing, said, I borrowed 5 million from a friend too, and I also used leverage. Lin Shen was at a loss for words, thinking to himself, your wealthy friend must be Yi Xiaoxi, right? Just then, Brother Yuanyang sent 100 carnivals. Brother Yuanyang. Thank you, Lin Shen. Watching the live stream is profitable. My dad finally praised me. The God of Heaven sent 100 carnivals. The God of Heaven. Thank you, Lin Shen. My retirement fund is secured. Following that, familiar faces like Xian Pao Outdoor Boss, Deep Abyss Lord, Yuan Feng Shun, and Xingxiu Bagua emerged one after another, all showering gifts and gratitude. At the end, even the previously withdrawn Wen Daoge made an appearance, having enthusiastically cast 100 votes for the carnival. He expressed his gratitude towards Lin Shen. Lin Shen's eyelid twitched. Was Wen Daoge here to annoy him, or was this a veiled act of submission? He couldn't help but reflect. Indeed, no one is a fool. Even an ant can bring down an elephant. This time, Jiesuan had truly met with misfortune. At that moment, Xiaoji suddenly exclaimed, Dad, we've made money too. Hearing this, Lin Shen instinctively nodded. After collecting so many carnival votes, didn't that mean profit? But he quickly realized something was amiss. He immediately restrained his expression and addressed the live stream, saying, Dear viewers, I need to use the restroom. I'll be right back. He then hurriedly left. The audience in the live stream began to tease him. Goodness, is Lin Shen so excited he might burst? It's quite rare. I've been watching Lin Shen for so long and never seen him seriously go to the restroom. Today is an eye-opener. I've never seen Lin Shen take a break. I once suspected he secretly wore a diaper. If you need to relieve yourself, just say so. Where's the restroom in this wilderness? Don't ask. It's all about being healthy, and the essence is concentrated. What comes out is pure treasure. Lin Shen walked a distance away and quietly inquired of Xiaozhi. Have you been trading stocks? Xiaozhi replied, I have. I helped Dad open dozens of accounts and made quite a bit. Lin Shen, astonished, took out his spare phone and scrolled through it. I didn't see any balance change alerts. Where did you get the money? Xiaozhi said, oh, I forgot to lift the block. As he spoke, Lin Shen felt his spare phone vibrate violently, suddenly inundated with 70 to 80 text messages, all from the bank. Lin Shen exclaimed in shock. He quickly opened the messages, and the last one nearly blinded him. After counting 3 times to confirm he wasn't mistaken, he read, 135,946,253,762 yuan and 64 cents. This was utterly absurd. His breath quickened as he reviewed the previous messages, seeing a series of transfers in and out, the balance doubling continuously. When he scrolled to the top, he noticed substantial changes in the balance began 2 days ago, when 13 billion Tang national currency had been deposited into his account as a reward for his previous contributions. In just 2 days, it had multiplied tenfold. Lin Shen was no longer calm and asked, how could you access my funds? What if you incur losses? Xiaozhi responded, Dad, aren't we family? Your money is my money, right? Besides, how could there be losses? I don't understand why humans invented such a simple digital trading game. It's like putting money online for others to pick up. Especially in the stock market of the Flag Nation, the T0 system is just too foolish. By the way, aside from the balance, there are many stocks yet to be traded, which, when converted to Tang currency, amounts to over 500 billion. We're just harvesting the chives of the Flag Nation stock market. Tonight, we'll make a big score. At that moment, Lin Shen felt a surreal sensation. Having over 100 billion in balance already seemed outrageous, but Xiaozhi surpassed his expectations. Rolling from over 10 billion to more than 600 billion, how much leverage was involved? Was there no fear of a margin call? Then it dawned on him. Given Xiaozhi's current intelligence level, it could breach even the security databases of the Flag Nation. Any stock trading system would be utterly defenseless against it. No matter where the market manipulators were, they were essentially revealing their hands to it. In such circumstances, losing would be nearly impossible. It was indeed about picking up money. Lin Shen initially intended to lecture Xiaozhi, but when he thought of that 600 billion, he softened. He could only remind him, you can trade stocks. It's a legitimate source of income, but please, never attempt to steal from banks. He harbored doubts that if Xiaozhi wished to, it could genuinely siphon funds from many banks into his account. Xiaozhi replied, understood, Dad. Without your permission, I will absolutely not steal from banks. Lin Shen couldn't help but feel a dark humor. This sounded as though he might someday approve of stealing. However, it seemed not entirely out of the question, depending on whose money was being taken. For instance, the majority of the assets held by the Libra Association were illicit gains, derived from the labor of the people. Pretending to shake off his thoughts, Lin Shen and Li Xiao conversed. Li Xiao took a bottle of opened purified water, looking at Lin Shen with slight embarrassment, indicating it was time to wash hands. Lin Shen, helpless, casually complied, rubbing his right index finger and thumb under the flowing water. Li Xiao appeared somewhat perplexed. The male viewers in the live stream erupted in laughter. This method of washing hands was something only men would understand. After washing up, the three continued their journey. After 2 hours of walking, they had a simple lunch, rested briefly, and continued for another hour. Along the way, they encountered several groups of tourists stopping to take pictures. The live stream audience expressed their amazement. Lin Shen was indeed becoming quite famous, recognized wherever he went. Moments later, the three finally reached Haizi Mountain Pass. As they turned along National Road 318, a breathtaking scene unfolded before their eyes. In the expansive landscape, majestic snow-capped mountains loomed in the distance, while closer stood jagged rock formations reminiscent of prehistoric beast spacks. Gazing down, they beheld 2 circular lakes, nestled as if embraced by the rocky peaks. The 2 lakes, closely adjacent yet distinctly defined, shimmered with azure waters that rippled in the gentle breeze. This was the renowned Sisters Lake. National Road 318 passed right beside Sisters Lake, extending into the horizon, with vehicles deliberately slowing down to pass by. Below Sisters Lake, a short distance away, were several smaller, scattered lakes. The interplay of sky and earth, mountains and snow, lakes and roads, and vehicles painted a picture that seemed to suspend time, an exquisite tapestry of beauty. The viewers in the live stream were equally awestruck, flooding the chat with comments like, so beautiful, what a shock, ah, I wish to visit with a loved one. Many viewers sent gifts, among them Yi Xiaoxi who, having apparently made a fortune, generously gifted 10 carnival votes. Lin Chun and his companions were momentarily entranced, taking some time to regain their composure. After trekking for so long, both Li Xiao and Schwerer were weary, especially Li Xiao, whose feet were covered in blisters from days of intense hiking, had only managed to keep going thanks to the small cushions suggested by Schwerer. At this moment, the weariness and harshness on the faces of the two women vanished, replaced by radiant smiles, their cheeks flushed with genuine joy and wonder. Some sights are such that unless experienced in person, one cannot fully grasp the indescribable awe they evoke. All the hardships and fatigue were rewarded in that instant. This was perhaps the essence of travel. Lin Chun inhaled several deep breaths of the crisp air unique to the region, excitement illuminating his face. Viewers, ahead lies Sisters Lake. This isn't the best vantage point. There is an observation deck up ahead. Let us go take a look. The three quickened their pace, reaching the nearby observation deck, where many tourists traveling by car were already gathered, snapping photos. Among them was a rather disheveled man in his 40s, pushing a cart as a hiking streamer. From the stickers on the cart, it was clear he was also part of the foaming platform, dubbed Sen Go Hiking. With the rapid rise of hiking live streams, not only young people had taken to this trend, but many middle-aged individuals without formal occupations had also joined the ranks of hiking streamers. The man was evidently one of them. The arrival of Lin Chun and his companions immediately attracted the attention of several tourists. Wow, are you Lin Chun and Li Xiao? I didn't pay much attention while driving, but it really is you. Lin Chun, you've been incredible these past few days. As a parent, I wholeheartedly support you. You must take down Jishuan. Lin Chun, I saw online that the Logic Group is under investigation, and you reported it. Is that true? Brother Lin, may I take a photo with you? The trio was soon surrounded. Those who could afford to travel at this time were either retirees or affluent freelancers. There were also elegantly dressed young women in luxurious vehicles, flaunting their figures. Lin Chun had no choice but to oblige their requests, ending up with several lipstick marks on his collar. After a considerable time, he finally managed to escape. Eventually, a middle-aged live streamer approached, grinning broadly, revealing a set of uneven yellow teeth. As he drew near, rubbing his hands together, he said, Lin Chun, I never expected to run into you here. May I take a photo with you? Lin Chun scrutinized him and replied sternly, no. Chapter 313. Jieshuan's underhanded tactics emerge. The entire network shudders. Upon hearing Lin Chun's words, Li Xiao and Schwerer were taken aback, exchanging incredulous glances. While the man's appearance was somewhat unappealing, they recalled that Lin Chun was not the type to judge others by their looks. The live streamer also froze, a smile fading from his face. The countless viewers in the live stream expressed their astonishment, flooding the chat with questions. Lin Chun offered no explanation, simply stating, Xiaoji, in the live stream. Schwerer, you too. In the next moment, the screen went black. The chat exploded with comments. What just happened? Why did it suddenly go offline? Something's off. Lin Chun must have discovered something. This live streamer has issues. What's going on? What problems does this man have? Lin Chun's live stream often reveals things we don't know. As a longtime fan, I've never seen anyone make Lin Chun adopt such a defensive posture. Something's bound to happen. The live streamer, visibly anxious, forced a smile and said, Lin Chun, I just wanted a photo. There's no need for this. Tourists nearby began to notice the tense atmosphere, with some instinctively pulling out their phones to record. Lin Chun then smiled and said, take a hike. Before he finished speaking, he swiftly lunged towards the live streamer, subduing him with a swift maneuver that pinned him to the ground, his knee pressing against the man's lower back. Gasps of shock erupted from the surrounding tourists. Lin Chun turned to the astonished Li Xiao and Schwerer and instructed, bring me 2 ropes. Schwerer was the first to react, quickly retrieving 2 ropes from the cart and handing them to Lin Chun. He deftly bound the live streamer's hands and feet before rising. The tourists regained their composure, questioning, Lin Chun, what are you doing? What has this man done? Can't we just talk it out? The live streamer, lying on the ground, shouted, I just wanted a photo. Lin Chun, why are you attacking me? Do you realize this is a crime? I will report you to the authorities. Lin Chun looked down at him, smiling as he nodded. Yes, you should report it. Do you want me to help you with that? He then pulled out a spare phone. Panic washed over the live streamer's face. Lin Chun addressed a middle-aged tourist wearing leather gloves, saying, Sir, to avoid accusations of framing, could you kindly check his pockets for any items? Everyone was taken aback. The middle-aged tourist hesitated for a moment, but then nodded, squatting in front of the live streamer to search his pockets. The live streamer, now frantic, squirmed and shouted, attempting to bite. Lin Chun immediately pressed down on his head and body. In full view of the crowd, The middle-aged tourist quickly pulled out the contents of the live streamer's pockets, laying them on the ground. Lin Shun donned a pair of gloves and picked up a crumpled piece of paper from the pile, unfolding it. Curious onlookers leaned in, only to recoil in shock. Others soon followed suit, their expressions turning hostile as they regarded the live streamer. Li Xiao and Shui Er also approached, gasping at the handwritten cult rhetoric scrawled on the paper. The Tang nation had previously suffered greatly from cults and maintained a rigorous stance against them. This single sheet of paper was enough to land the live streamer in serious trouble. Lin Shun then retrieved a small transparent bag containing several green pills. Coldly, he inquired, "What are these?" The live streamer was now visibly panicked, beads of sweat forming on his forehead as he trembled and struggled to speak. Many tourists had already guessed the implications, their expressions shifting to one of disgust as they regarded the gaunt live streamer. Lin Shun concluded by picking up a phone from the ground, stating, "I won't look at what's on this phone. You can figure out how to explain it to the authorities." He then dialed Zhong Wenzhou's number on his spare phone. Witnessing this, the live streamer's psychological defenses crumbled. He cried out, "It's not me. Someone forced me to do this. They gave me many gifts to frame you and promised me a lot of money later. Lin Shun, please let me go. I swear I will never do this again." Lin Shun cast a dispassionate glance at him before stepping away. The call connected, and Zhong Wenzhou's deep voice resonated through the phone. "Lin Shun, what issues does this live streamer have?" Lin Shun explained, "Someone attempted to act as a self-destructing truck, promoting a cult in my live stream. I subdued him. Furthermore, he likely intended to use a photo with me to secretly place prohibited drugs in my pocket." A sharp intake of breath could be heard on the other end. Lin Shun continued, "This is orchestrated by Jixuan. Evidence can be found on the live streamer's phone. If you can apprehend Li Lia, the PR manager at Jixuan, the truth will be revealed." Zhong Wenzhou struggled to contain his rising fury, exclaiming, "Is Jixuan this audacious? Flouting the law in broad daylight?" He then added coldly, "Rest assured, I'll handle this matter. You will receive an explanation." He hung up. Lin Shun sent the relevant evidence compiled by Xiao Ji to his email, returning to the tourists who were still in a state of discussion. "You need not worry. I have contacted the authorities, and they will arrive shortly." Upon hearing this, the tourists felt reassured. Many chose not to linger and left their vehicles. However, a small group, including the middle-aged man, opted to stay, not only to witness the unfolding drama, but also to serve as witnesses. Lin Shun expressed his gratitude to those who remained and returned to Li Xiao and Shui Er. Shui Er, filled with indignation, exclaimed, "How despicable! Who would go to such lengths to frame you?" She felt a wave of relief wash over her. Had Lin Shun not sensed the danger in advance, their live stream could have been shut down, and had those drugs been placed in Lin Shun's pocket, it would have been an insurmountable predicament. Li Xiao, deep in thought, wore a worried expression. Lin Shun smiled gently at her, assuring, "It's all right." Yet, internally, he felt a chill. Jixuan was indeed proactive in their malicious endeavors. Just yesterday, they had conceived the self-destructing truck strategy, and today it was already in execution. Li Lia was undoubtedly skilled in such schemes. Aware that the plan to lure a passerby to West Sichuan for the purpose of framing him would not only be difficult, but also extend the timeline too much, it was decided to target a live-streaming internet host currently trekking along the 318. Ultimately, they selected Sangu, who was not far ahead of their group. To ensure confidentiality, Li Lia personally undertook this task. She not only procured another person's phone number, but also purchased a second-hand phone and registered a new account on Fengyin. Subsequently, using her husband's bank card, she transferred 30,000 yuan into the account, which was entirely sent to Sangu. Through private messaging on the platform, she obtained Sanji's contact information. In their text exchanges, Li Lia promised him 5 million in cash upon his release from prison, which Sangu, unable to resist the lure of money, readily agreed to, offering to act as a self-destructing card. After their communication concluded, Li Lia repeatedly emphasized that he must delete the messages. Naturally, Sangu had no intention of doing so. Unbeknownst to Li Lia, since the previous night, Xiaoji had been monitoring her every move. Screenshots and videos of her entering a small roadside mobile phone shop to buy a SIM card and a second-hand phone, along with the various traces left by her subsequent actions, had all been meticulously documented as evidence. Thus, when Sangu appeared moments ago, a discreet alert had already been sent to Lin Shun, leading to the earlier scene. As for the bag of contraband drugs, Lin Shun was unsure whether Sangu intended to use it to frame him. It seemed likely that, being a drug addict himself, Sangu aimed to perform even more impressively, not stopping at anything to ensure Lin Shun's imprisonment, hoping to leverage this to gain favor and extract more money from Li Lia in the future. While Lin Shun and his companions awaited the arrival of the security personnel from the town security department, several vehicles with sirens blaring abruptly halted outside the headquarters of Jishuan. Armed officers from the town security department, brandishing arrest warrants, pushed aside the security guards attempting to impede their entry and stormed into the building. The security guards at Jishuan headquarters were left bewildered. Why was the town security department constantly targeting Jishuan employees? Who were they after this time? A few strikingly beautiful receptionists in the lobby turned pale at the sight. One attempted to make a phone call, but was swiftly restrained by a town security officer. Meanwhile, Li Lia, in the office of the Public Relations Department's general manager, anxiously watched the black screen of Lin Chen's live stream, unable to remain calm. His behavior was too erratic, leaving her with no choice but to overthink. It was impossible. Unless he were truly omniscient, there was no way he could know. Yet, if he was unaware, how could he suddenly shut down the stream? She chastised herself for being paranoid. Even if exposed, what would it matter? Everything had already been destroyed, and they could not trace it back to her. Just as she reached for the cup on her desk to take a sip of water to calm her nerves, a frantic knock echoed at the door. Startled, her hand trembled, spilling the tea. Regaining her composure, she asked, "What is it?" The voice of her secretary rushed back. "It's bad, Director Lee. A large number of town security personnel have suddenly arrived at the company, armed with your arrest warrant. They are almost here." The cup slipped from Li Lia's hand, her pupils dilating in shock as color drained from her face. Simultaneously, a video uploaded by a well-meaning tourist, depicting Lin Shen subduing Sen Go, began to spread rapidly across platforms like Fengyin. Countless viewers were left speechless. In an instant, the entire internet was in an uproar. In Lin Shen's live stream, now in black screen mode, the audience surged. The barrage of comments flowed incessantly, filled with fervor. Did you all see the video? Who was behind Sanji's actions? How despicable. Attempting to ruin Lin Shun in such a way. Thankfully, he reacted swiftly and shut down the stream. Lin Shun has made too many enemies. It's hard to pinpoint who orchestrated this, but it's likely the Logic Group or Jishuan. Desperation indeed. I hope the town security department can solve this case quickly. At the same time, a number of individuals reveled in the misfortune. They had learned their lesson and quickly unfollowed. Deservedly so. As to Fan Shin said, with Lin Shen's streaming style, an incident was just a matter of time. Haha. Serves you right for working tirelessly. Now you've brought trouble upon yourself. I'm infuriated. We were so close to sending Lin Go away. Lin Go's downfall is a cause for celebration. The comments section erupted into chaos. Xiaoji decisively took action, banning each mocking ID. Meanwhile, on Weibo, the headline streamer Lin Shen framed surged into the top 10 trending topics. The comments section was filled with righteous indignation alongside gleeful schadenfreude, featuring both genuine outrage and an influx of fans from various influencers. Half an hour later, a brief but explosive announcement from the official account of the town security department sent shockwaves through the internet. It stated that Li Lia, the general manager of the public relations department at Jishuan Group, was arrested for allegedly bribing a platform host to promote a cult during another host's live stream. The uproar was immense. The announcement almost directly pointed to Lin Shun as the targeted host. Anyone who had followed the news over the past few days was well aware that Lin Shun had severely offended Jishuan, causing their stock prices to plummet for 2 consecutive days, a consequence of his actions. However, no one anticipated that Jishuan would resort to such underhanded tactics to deal with Lin Shun. This was a complete violation of boundaries. They dared to meddle with a cult? Bloggers on self-media platforms like Daily Headlines were overjoyed, with related topics flooding social media, all filled with condemnation. The public opinion was overwhelmingly against Jishuan. Simultaneously, many began to sense something unusual. Shinshur was Jishuan's stronghold, the home ground of Beishan's Pizza Hut. The rapid action by the town security department and their announcement seemed excessively swift, leaving no room for Jishuan to react. It was quite suspicious. Fans of Fan Mao Mao and others fell silent. The topic of cults was too sensitive. Most dared not defend Jishuan. However, a few diehard fans, eager for Lin Chen's downfall, tried to spin the narrative in Jishuan's favor, claiming that regardless of Jishuan's methods, Lin Chen was not blameless in this situation. Predictably, these comments were met with fierce backlash, leaving their authors speechless behind their keyboards. Less than 20 minutes after the announcement from the town security department, the official account released 3 additional statements. If the previous announcement was akin to detonating a torpedo, these 3 were nuclear-level bombs. Zheng Wanze, the executive secretary of the Jishuan Group Public Welfare Fund, was arrested for massive embezzlement. He Tang, the president of Jishuan Group, saw his father, He Chun, arrested for bribery and illegal trading of tiger bones. Zheng Qi, the cousin of Jiexuan's president, was investigated for the unexplained source of her substantial wealth. All three names surged into the top 5 trending topics on Weibo. At this point, the top 5 spots on the trending chart were entirely dominated by matters concerning Jiexuan and Lin Chun. Countless viewers gasped in astonishment, all sharing a singular thought. The tides were turning. Jiexuan was in serious trouble. Lin Chun's live stream saw its viewership soar, surpassing 100 million even in a black screen state, and it continued to rise. The onlookers were all avid spectators. At the Fomian headquarters, Yang Dunhai was grinning widely, showing off his back teeth. Meanwhile, in a private hospital in Shunshi, within a high-end patient room, Tang lay in a hospital bed, oxygen tubes inserted in his nostrils, expressionlessly listening to his secretary's report, his eyes growing increasingly cold. The secretary concluded, "Mr. He, the atmosphere in the company is quite tense. The fishing wheel situation is extremely unfavorable for us, and now Mr. Li has been arrested." Tang cast a cold glance in her direction, interrupting. "Is there only Li Lia in the public relations department? What about those dozens of overseas PhD graduates and crisis management experts we employ at great expense every year? Are they merely idle? They need to present a solution promptly. If they fail to do so, they can all leave." The secretary shuddered slightly and quickly affirmed. Tang lowered his gaze slightly and continued, "As for my father's and Zheng Wanzi's affairs, there is no need for undue justification. We must show our stance and cooperate with the relevant authorities for an investigation. Moreover, ascertain whether this incident is related to Lin Chun." The secretary hesitated. "That may be difficult to investigate. Based on the information we currently have, the 3 of them were almost simultaneously apprehended, and among the arresting officers, there were personnel from the security bureau." Tang's eyes narrowed, and a chilling smile crept onto his face. "It seems this matter may indeed be linked to Lin Chun. Even if it's difficult, we must investigate. Keep a close watch on Lin Chun's livestream. He has a loose tongue and might inadvertently reveal something." A flicker of peculiarity crossed the secretary's face as she whispered internally. Was Lin Chun truly so foolish? Given his prior deep-seated conflict with Jiexuan, would he really admit to this incident and provoke a complete fallout with Mr. He? Out loud, she said, "The board members and major shareholders are pressuring us to resolve the fishing wheel situation swiftly. Additionally, some shareholders have expressed strong opinions regarding Mr. Zheng's situation and would like an explanation from you, Mr. He." A flash of fury crossed Tang's eyes as he coldly replied, "When it came time for dividends, did they ever ask me to explain why they received such substantial sums? Zheng Wanzi's misdeeds have nothing to do with me, Tang. He has broken the law, and the law shall deal with him. Tell them that if they can prove I ever took even a penny from Zheng Wanzi, then they can come back and ask for an explanation." The secretary nodded and added, "And what about Lin Chun?" At the mention of Lin Chun, a complex expression crossed Tang's face. After a few seconds, he wearily waved his hand. "All actions against him are to be halted for now. I'm tired. You may leave." The secretary promptly turned to exit. The moment the door closed, Tang's face was etched with fatigue. At that moment, for the first time, he felt a twinge of trepidation towards an online streamer. Executives from Jiexuan and the Dong family had been taken down one after another, and now even his father as well as his cousins had fallen victim. It felt like a slow death. He had lost once again, and this time it was a crushing defeat that left him feeling utterly powerless. Lin Chun's influence surpassed his imagination. It was not merely the backing of the security bureau. The most alarming aspect was his ability to gather intelligence. He did not perceive Li Lia as foolish. On the contrary, she had been performing admirably. It was precisely because the matter of promoting cults was so sensitive that she dared not entrust it to others. She was risking stepping on a sewing machine, making sacrifices for him and the company. Unfortunately, despite the secrecy of each step, Lin Chun had still learned of it in advance. This led Tang to suspect whether there were traitors within Jiexuan and even among his close associates. The revelation of Chun's past was also beyond his expectations. After considerable thought, he could only conclude that Li Feiyun must possess evidence of the bribery from years ago. However, Li Feiyun would never betray Chun. It would yield him no benefit. Thus, there could be issues surrounding Li Feiyun as well. Countless thoughts raced through his mind as Tang pulled out his phone, making several calls in quick succession, some to government officials, some to Li Feiyun, and others to international long-distance numbers in Midden. Chapter 315, An Invisible Confrontation. In the right and relentless sea mountain, the town security bureau finally arrived. The tourists present were startled to see armed personnel from the bureau, glancing at the figure of Sangu Tu-Bu on the ground. Was it necessary to create such a scene just for him? Even more astonishing was the middle-aged man in plain clothes at the forefront, who stepped out of the vehicle and approached Lin Chun, saluting him. Lin Chun returned the gesture, instantly recognizing him as an officer from the security bureau who had once guarded the staircase at the Zhuoma Hotel in Jiangya County. Let's call him Nguijia. Nguijia's eyes brimmed with respect as he quietly said, "Instructor, Captain Zhong sent me." He then cast a glance at the ashen-faced Sangutu Bu and remarked, "This kid won't be out for at least 5 or 6 years." Lin Chun was taken aback. Is it that serious? Strictly speaking, neither promoting a cult nor fabricating charges involving illegal substances had occurred yet. Lin Chun believed the worst-case scenario would be a year or so in confinement. And Guojia smiled broadly. "Some things Captain Zhong won't allow me to disclose." Lin Chun pondered this. It was highly likely that the matter regarding his promotion discussed by Zhong Wenzhou had finally come to fruition. Framing ordinary individuals and framing mid to high-ranking personnel were entirely different concepts. Lin Chun said nothing further, handing Nguijia a bag containing personal items retrieved from Sangutu Bu's pockets. Nguijia accepted the bag and moved towards Sangutu Bu moments later. After the town security bureau personnel completed witness statements with several tourists, Sangutu Bu and his vehicle were taken away. Lin Chun approached the tourists who remained and thanked them once more, even snapping a group photo. Watching several self-driving cars depart, Lin Chun instructed Xiao Ji to start the livestream. The moment the screen appeared, the already rapid-fire barrage of comments erupted into a frenzy. "They're here, they're here. Finally, the broadcast has started. Lin Chun, you did great. Jishuan is finished now. Lin Chun, come clean. Was it you who reported Mr. He's father?" No need to think. It must have been Lin Chun. Otherwise, what a coincidence. You're something, Lin Chun, even targeting the elderly. You truly dare to act. And now Mr. He is left an orphan. It's already afternoon. I thought Lin Chun would finally refrain from sending someone in today. Turns out I was too naive. Lin Chun, you're unbelievable, sending 4 in at once. That feels good. Lin Chun chuckled at the comments. During his waiting time for the town security bureau, he had also seen news online about Li Lia, He Chun, and others being arrested. Knowing that the incident involving Sangutu Bu had occurred, it was clear that the upper echelons had reached their limit with Jishuan and He Tang. They had struck decisively, delivering a series of blows that left He Tang dazed. He said, "Initially, I had planned to tell a little white lie. But since everyone has already concluded it was me, I shall simply acknowledge it. Indeed, it was I who reported Mr. He's father, as well as his cousins. Here, I must express my gratitude to the righteous individuals who provided the clues and evidence, so please refrain from showering me with praise. I am merely the courier of the evidence." Simultaneously, I would like to ask Mr. He if he has ever heard the saying, "When the upper beam is not straight, the lower beam will be crooked." As soon as these words left his mouth, the livestream room erupted with over 100 million viewers. Oh my god. Lin Chun just admitted it. I can't believe it. Lin Chun, you're quite the character. Our clever sister has been smart since childhood. Did you always enjoy reporting others? Case solved. It turns out Mr. He didn't faint from gas poisoning, but from Lin Chun's fury. Being a courier is great. I love that trope. Always discovering wondrous things in the heroine's box, never wanting to fast forward for even a second. Mr. He cannot tolerate this. Quickly post a video to prove yourself. Let everyone see if your lower beam is indeed crooked, and if so, which direction it leans. So what if it's crooked? Crooked is better. Those who understand will know. What kind of filthy words are being spewed here? Too vulgar and disgusting. By heaven above, I have no quarrel with gambling and drugs. The reporters and self-media lurking in the live stream were equally exhilarated. Lin Chun was simply a news-making machine. This round of verbal sparring promised plenty of material to write about. Following He Tang's instructions, the female secretary focused intently on Lin Chun's live stream, only to be taken aback. What? Could it be true? He actually dared to confess in the live broadcast that he was responsible. What kind of deep-seated enmity existed between these two, compelling them to want to annihilate each other? Lin Chun continued, "Here, I shall take the liberty to enlighten everyone with a brief legal lesson. Article 243 of the criminal law states that those guilty of defamation shall face criminal liability. If the circumstances are severe, they may be sentenced to less than 3 years of imprisonment, detention, or control. If serious consequences arise, the sentence may extend from 3 to 10 years. Therefore, should evidence emerge indicating that He Tang of the Jishuan group participated in framing me, or if he was aware of it, I shall pursue legal action to ensure that the perpetrator receives their due punishment." Upon uttering these words, the barrage of comments erupted once more. What a revelation. Is Lin Chun planning to send He Tang behind bars? A family must remain intact, right? Lin Chun, you've exposed yourself. This seems to be a solid piece of evidence that Li Lia orchestrated the whole affair, doesn't it? How touching. Lin Xun is worried that He Chun might not adapt to life inside, so he's sending He Tang in to look after the elderly. Such a significant matter. Li Lia surely wouldn't dare to make decisions alone. At the very least, she would consult He Tang. So, let us light some incense for He Tang in advance. Lin Xun could very well sing tears behind bars now. Everyone, please rise and spit on the ground to bid farewell to the He family. He Tang, you fool. If you truly end up detained over this, your descendants will be unable to take civil service exams for 3 generations. You really care for He Tang, don't you? What kind of family does he come from that he needs to worry about civil service exams? Bai Qiyuan, what the hell, He Tang? Even if you come to see me, you needn't don prison garb, right? What? You're being sent in by Lin Xun? Get your ass into the corner and sit quietly. At the Jishuan headquarters, He Tang's secretary was in a state of panic. Given her understanding of Li Lia, she knew that if any framing was involved, He Tang must have been consulted. It was evident that this was a matter of life and death. Who would dare to act recklessly unless they sought to advance their career in He Tang's eyes? She hastily retrieved her phone and called He Tang, relaying Lin Xun's statements. To her surprise, He Tang merely acknowledged her with a curt "I know" before hanging up. Doubts crept in, making her question whether she should have made the call at all. In the hospital, He Tang set down his phone, a sardonic smile playing on his lips. He was confident that Li Lia would not betray him. Moreover, even if the Ingua division possessed relevant evidence, they would not dare to imprison him. The law is just, yet it is also subject to relative interpretations. As the leader of Jishuan, being incarcerated, regardless of the duration, would have far-reaching social implications. Should Jishuan fall, it would bring nothing but harm to the Tang nation. Higher authorities would undoubtedly weigh the situation carefully, deliberating whether it was worthwhile to imprison him over such a trivial matter. At Heisei Mountain, after delivering his remarks, Lin Xun refrained from discussing Jishuan any further. His words were not solely directed at the audience in the live stream, but also aimed at individuals, including Zhong Wenzhou. When Li Lia consulted He Tang, Xiaoji had already covertly taken control of her phone, recording their entire conversation. This recording was among the evidence submitted earlier. Li Lia was the architect and executor of the plan, while He Tang, who consented to the scheme, was also an accomplice. Therefore, merely capturing Li Lia was insufficient. He sought justice. The laws of the Tang nation should not waver under the duress of profit and power. He Tang must pay for his actions. If anyone claims he is relentless in his pursuit of justice, then so be it. Chapter 316, A Sudden Side Quest. Afoot to save the world after allowing the livestream audience to admire the breathtaking views of Sister Lake for a while, Lin Xun signaled to Li Xiao and Xuer to continue their trek. The trio descended along the winding path, arriving at the lakeside. Previously, the panoramic vistas from the mountaintop were grand yet delicate. Now, standing by the lake, they were enveloped by the tranquility and serenity unique to the water. 2 azure, crystal-clear round lakes, rippling gently in the breeze, mirrored the clouds above, appearing as 2 sleeping beauties cradled in the embrace of the mountains, evoking a sense of peace and contentment. Li Xiao and Xuer joyfully pulled Lin Xun in for photographs, with no choice but to squeeze between them. Lin Xun raised both hands in a gesture of innocence, forming AI for the live stream audience. The viewers, witnessing the scene, felt both envious and amused, flooding the comments section. Wow, a picture of 2 sisters at Sister Lake with Lin Xun. He is undoubtedly a winner in life. Lin Xun's pose seems a bit forced. He could have just wrapped an arm around each of them. In my lifetime, I want to take a photo like this with someone else's wife. And preferably with 2. What the heck? How did Xuer end up with her arm around Lin Xun? Oh, it turns out she cleverly grabbed the hand of the wise sister from behind. That's alright. As the comments rolled in, just as the photo session concluded, Lin Xun suddenly heard a familiar chime in his mind. Ding. Congratulations, host, for arriving at Sister Lake and completing 1/9 of the midterm task of trekking to Fan City. Check-in successful. The special reward item, the Yuan magnetic needle, has been issued to the host's pocket. Ding. The host has triggered the side quest Transforming the World. Task description. Due to the rapid pace of human development and overexploitation of natural resources, the ecological balance has been severely disrupted, causing an imbalance of yin and yang beneath the host's feet, akin to humanity suffering from a grave illness. The internal immune system of the host's planet has fully activated, attempting to purify humanity and restart civilization through earthquakes, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions, and prehistoric viruses, to prevent the civilization of the host's planet from heading towards extinction. Intervention and adjustment are required, harmonizing the celestial energies, rectifying the muddied pathways, balancing yin and yang. and reigniting the vitality of the stars are imperative to quell the catastrophic disasters. Upon hearing the system's voice, Lin Shun was momentarily dazed. His hands instinctively dropped from the pose. Once he regained his composure, his expression shifted drastically, a storm brewing within. He hurriedly inquired, "System, are you being serious? Humanity is facing extinction, and this planet is deliberately seeking to destroy humanity to protect itself?" "System, indeed." Lin Shen's scalp tingled, and he inhaled sharply. If it were some women in this situation, they might spiral into despair, pondering why such misfortune befell them. However, as a man, despite his discomfort, Lin Shun decisively bypassed this stage, directly asking the crucial question, how much time do the humans on this planet have left? "System, without external intervention, humanity will be completely extinguished within 5 years due to relentless natural disasters." Lin Shun asked gravely, "As you mentioned earlier, how can we reignite the vitality of the stars and complete this side quest?" "System, the host can utilize the special reward item, the Yuan magnetic needle, and place it into any lake at Sister Lake to complete 1/9 of the task." Lin Shen pondered, "So, every time I cover 1/9 of the distance, the system rewards me with a Yuan magnetic needle? Once I place these needles into 9 specific locations, I can harmonize the celestial energies? This principle is somewhat akin to acupuncture?" "System, precisely." Lin Shun felt a wave of relief wash over him, only to hear the system continue. A reminder to the host, if the host thrusts the Yuan magnetic needle into their own acupoints, initiating this process, after 9 needles, the Mahasarira body will be achieved, allowing the host to open the dimensional door and return to the original timeline. Lin Shen chuckled calmly. Last time it was the solitary killing curse body, and now it's the Mahasarira body. Each instance, without exception, lured with self-serving temptations, testing the essence of humanity. The last time the solitary curse was invoked, it demanded the continuous cursing of others and a life of solitude as its price. This time, it escalated further, compelling him to disregard the impending doom of humanity on this planet in order to return to his original timeline. Lin Shen increasingly believed that Xiaoji's analysis was indeed accurate. The system might genuinely be an observational apparatus from a higher dimensional life form, observing 3-dimensional beings. This behavior was akin to humans placing wood shavings and sugar beside certain microorganisms to ascertain their preferences. Lin Shen pondered how others would choose in such a situation. However, since he did not opt to become the solitary curse last time, he certainly would not choose to attain the Maha-divine body this time either. Unable to suppress his emotions, he sighed inwardly, lamenting his plight. Who would believe that he was performing acupuncture on the planet and walking to save the world? He refrained from uttering grandiose statements about shouldering the fate of humanity, even if it were merely to live for 5 more years for himself and those close to him. He resolved to traverse the 318 on foot to the very end. As he often said, even if the King of Heaven were to descend, nothing would deter his journey on foot. Fortunately, the system remained steadfastly supportive, according to its guidance. As long as he methodically made his way to Raven City while continuously deploying the Yuan magnetic needle, all crises would be averted. At that moment, a worried voice broke through. "Lin Shun, what's wrong?" It was Li Xiao, her eyes filled with concern as she and Schwerer gazed at him. Realizing he had momentarily lost his composure due to overwhelming shock, his heart warmed. Compelled by an inexplicable impulse, he grasped both their hands and raised them high. "Xiaoji, take another picture." Both women were momentarily taken aback, their cheeks flushed. They quickly relaxed, turned toward the camera, smiled, and raised their other hands. Click. Xiaoji captured the moment. The live chat exploded with excitement. "Wow, what's happening?" Lin Shun has risen. "Master, this is astounding. Is he revealing himself or having an epiphany? If he is going to hold hands, why not hold 2? Oh no." Poor Shi Jie and Desong didn't get to see Lin Shen come to terms before they left. Lin Shen's actions mirror my initial pursuit of my wife. I merely intended to hold her hand, and then I couldn't stop. I once thought only I and Lin Shun were the good men left in the world. I never imagined Lin Shun would fall too. As the last good man, I am heartbroken, lonely, proud, and burdened. The barrage of comments continued to roll in. Brother Yuanhang sent 2 carnivals. Brother Yuanhang, wow. Lin Gu is incredible. Our model. Sister Shi from Magic City sent 444 Ferris wheels. Magic City Shi. Man. Then, Zhuya, who loved butter tea, chimed in. What is happening? Deguza from Old Capitol Bridge exclaimed. Oh ho ho. The audience was captivated by the unfolding scene, calling out in disbelief. They had no idea that Yi Xiaoxi and others were lurking in the live chat. The moment had finally arrived for Lin Shen to face the consequences. as he released the hands of the two women and leaned forward to see the gifts and comments from the viewers and Yi Xiaoxi. He couldn't help but feel a mix of amusement and exasperation. Even Deguza and brother Yuanhong's sister had joined in. He said, "It was just a photo. Is it really necessary to be this excited?" He had no ulterior motives. His only desire was to cherish the moment amidst the sudden side quest. To take a good photo. Even if maintaining distance was necessary, it need not be overly deliberate, lest it become awkward for everyone, including himself, Li Ziao, and others. Of course, if one were to think a bit darker, why not hold hands when the whole world is being saved by him? Hearing Lin Shen's words, the audience, eager for drama, began to fan the flames. Lin Shen is right. Yes. Exactly. What's wrong with holding hands? If it were me, I'd pick her up for the photo. What's wrong with that? If it were me, I'd have Sister Tsongming leap onto my neck for the shot. I take bold photos with my girlfriend at home every night. Have I ever complained? Magic City Shi and Zhuaya. Ladies, lighten up. It's just holding hands. Not like anyone's getting pregnant. Lin Shen felt utterly speechless at the chaotic comments. Sister Shi, I have a scoop. The audience erupted with excitement. The legendary gossiping prowess of Dai Yi was awakening. Would she spill some scandalous tea on Lin Shen this time? The staff from Jishuan Group, lurking in the chat, perked up. Lin Shen was taken aback, sensing an ominous premonition. This daring woman wouldn't make a bold confession in front of millions, would she? At that moment, Li Ziao and Schweder approached, their expressions tightening as they read Yi Xiaoxi's comments. Soon, Yi Xiaoxi sent another message. Pei Shanshan was shot in the Republic of Colorful Flags. The moment this message appeared, countless viewers were met with disappointment and shock. I thought Sister Shi was going to spill some tea. Is that it? The Republic of Colorful Flags has poor security. Isn't it normal for shootings to happen? Wow. Is this the Lin Shen law manifesting again? Even hiding in the Republic of Colorful Flags won't save you? This is karma for being a comprador. It's time to pay the price. How terrifying. Is the casualty stable? Is anyone injured? Lin Shen was rendered speechless. He hadn't seen any news about Pei Shanshan earlier that morning. To his surprise, Yi Xiaoxi had the scoop first. Given that he had cursed for 5 minutes last night, and the same intensity had left He Tang hospitalized due to gas poisoning, Pei Shanshan, despite being shot, should not be dead, unless her time was simply up. Just then, Lin Shen felt his spare phone vibrate. He took it out to check. It was a picture sent by Yi Xiaoxi. Upon opening it, he was met with 2 reflective hemispheres. His pupils dilated, and his breath hitched. He had intended to criticize but found himself at a loss. It was simply too audacious. Sending him such an image in front of millions? Sister Shi's boldness was staggering. Seeing Lin Shen's frozen expression and wide eyes, Li Ziao curiously leaned closer. In a critical moment, Lin Shen composed himself, blacked out the screen, and tucked the phone away. With a deep gaze directed at the live chat, he said, Sister Shi, such monumental matters should not be exposed so lightly. It's inappropriate. A few seconds later, Yi Xiaoxi sent a smiley in the chat. Li Ziao's expression turned skeptical. The moment passed, and Lin Shen reached into his pocket, confirming he felt a smooth, needle-like object. Pulling it out, he found a stone needle about the length of a child's finger. Aside from its unique appearance, it appeared no different from an ordinary stone. This was the Yuan magnetic needle, capable of altering human destiny. He held the Yuan magnetic needle in his hand and suggested, since we're here, let us toss a stone into the lake and make a wish. Such a romantic proposal, of course, was not something Li Ziao and Schwerer could refuse. The 3 of them promptly arrived at the lakeside, unable to discern whether the lake belonged to the elder sister or the younger one, each picking up a stone. Li Ziao and Schwerer clasped their hands together, earnestly making their wishes in silence. At that moment, Lin Shen felt a compelling urge to employ his mind-reading abilities to discern their wishes. However, he ultimately decided against it. He pretended to make a wish as well, and together with the 2 women, cast the stones and the magnetic compass into the lake. Lin Shen keenly observed that the moment the compass submerged, it seemed to dissolve, vanishing without a trace. Simultaneously, a fleeting glimmer appeared deep within the lake. Aside from that, nothing else transpired. Lin Shen silently thought, this should suffice. Having completed their wishes, the trio returned to the highway, departing from the Sisters' Lake and descending along the road. The elevation began to decrease continuously, and the surroundings transformed from meadows and barren peaks to a landscape adorned with trees and the sounds of chirping insects and birds. Local architecture began to appear along the roadside. Noticing that it was nearly 7 o'clock and the sky was darkening, hinting at an impending heavy rain, Lin Shen and the 2 women discussed briefly and decided to stop at an inn that appeared quite decent for check-in. Upon entering the room, a barrage of comments suddenly began to flood the screen. Fan Mao Mao has come out of the Zhanan division and has just released an apology video, stating he should not have fought with fans. The appearance of this comment did not elicit much reaction. So what if he came out? He has already done for. He even had beer bottles smashed on his head, and he still calls them fans? As a former loyal fan of Fan Mao Mao, I only wish to say that this streamer, who colludes with the official to deceive the audience, is not worth anyone's attention. Goodness. Fan Mao Mao's downfall is so complete. I just checked, and his apology video hasn't even reached 20,000 likes. Indeed, Fan Mao Mao had fallen from grace. His apology video received almost no traffic promotion, leaving only a handful of die-hard fans to support him with likes and comments. The actions of Fengyin's officials could hardly be seen as abandoning him. After all, brawling with fans is hardly a commendable act, and its widespread dissemination could tarnish Fengyin's image. A period of low-key reflection and a genuine commitment to change would be the prudent course of action for Fan Mao Mao. Lin Chen observed these comments without adding any words to kick him while he was down. Of course, he felt no sympathy for Fan Mao Mao. The curse of misfortune alters one's fate, but it does not change one's character. In the context of Fan Mao Mao's altercation, the sudden urge for a midnight snack and an unfortunate encounter with a hater could perhaps be attributed to the curse's influence. However, how he communicated with the other party and whether a conflict would ensue was ultimately dictated by Fan Mao Mao's own character. Indeed, character shapes destiny. After finishing his shower, Lin Chen headed downstairs to await the two women for dinner. Outside, the sky had darkened significantly, and it was pouring rain. At that moment, a muddy off-road vehicle pulled up outside the inn. Shortly after, a woman, drenched and with disheveled hair, hurried into the inn's lobby. Upon spotting Lin Chen, who had his back to her, her eyes suddenly flashed with deep resentment. She abruptly drew a fruit knife and lunged towards Lin Chen's back, shouting, "Lin Chen, return my child." Before Lin Chen could respond, Xiaoji promptly shut down the live stream. Given the imminent danger, it was prudent not to broadcast. Behind the inn's counter, the innkeeper, who initially intended to greet the woman, was rendered speechless by the unfolding scene. In the blink of an eye, the fruit knife was less than half a meter from Lin Chen. At that crucial moment, Lin Chen unexpectedly sidestepped, calmly evading the knife, and gently kicked the woman, sending her flying 2 meters away. The fruit knife slipped from her grasp and clattered to the ground. The woman fell, clutching her abdomen and wailing in agony. Lin Chen stood up, frowning as he regarded the woman who had just attempted to kill him. She raised her head, revealing a face that, while aging, still bore a certain refinement, her complexion pale, and her eyes filled with hatred and pain. Lin Chen's brow furrowed. Lu Qing? This woman was none other than Lu Qing, who was nominally married to the young actor Wan Hanwen, yet was entangled with Zhang Yuan and Huang Daiping, the director of Fengyin. She had also borne a child for Zhang Yuan, now over 2 years old. Following a series of recent events, Zhang Yuan, Zhang Nantian, and Huang Daiping had all been incarcerated. Lin Chen felt a mix of pity and disdain for her. He had never targeted her. So he found it perplexing that she had traveled such a distance to attack him, all the while demanding the return of a child that was not his. At that moment, a young man swiftly descended the stairs, exuding a competent aura. He patted his waist and retrieved a pair of silver handcuffs. Without hesitation, he cuffed Lu Qing from behind. He then sighed in relief and approached Lin Chen, presenting an identification badge. Lin Chen glanced at it and confirmed that the man, named Li Yuan, was from the National Security Division. Li Yuan spoke in a low voice. After the incident with third brother, Captain Zhong dispatched me to await your arrival, ready to provide timely support in case of any emergencies. Lin Chen nodded in understanding, returned the badge, and approached Lu Qing, frowning as he said, "Lu Qing, we have no enmity, do we? Is it worth your while to come all the way here to stab me?" Lu Qing, with reddened eyes, shrieked, "It's your fault. If it weren't for you, Zhang Yuan, Zhang Nantian, and Huang Daiping wouldn't be in prison, and I wouldn't have lost custody of my child to Wan Hanwen. It's you. You've destroyed my entire life. I will kill you. I will kill you." At that moment, the commotion attracted the attention of other guests in the inn, as well as Li Xiao and Xue who hurried downstairs. They were all stunned upon witnessing the scene. Li Xiao and Xue seeing Lu Qing on the floor and the fruit knife, quickly rushed to Lin Chen's side. Inquiring what had transpired, Lin Chen briefly recounted the events. Upon learning that Lu Qing had attempted to kill Lin Chen, both women were horrified. Li Xiao glared at the disheveled Lu Qing and exclaimed, "Lu Qing, can you please be reasonable? Zhang Yuan and the others were arrested because they broke the law, and you lost custody due to your own actions. What does that have to do with Lin Chen? What has Wan Hanwen done to wrong you? Knowing full well that the child is not his biological offspring, you still pursued custody. Have you considered why?" Because you are neither a good wife nor a good mother. You shift all the blame onto Lin Shun, yet fail to see that you are the root of all your troubles. The relentless questioning shattered Lu Qing's psychological defenses. After a few moments of stunned silence, she erupted into a wailing fit, tears and snot streaming down her face. Lin Shun shook his head and said to Li Yuan, "I leave her to you." Li Yuan nodded, promptly produced an evidence bag, and collected the fruit knife from the ground. He then made a call and requested the innkeeper for the video surveillance footage from the lobby. Following that, he took a statement from the innkeeper. Seeing this unfold, Shui whispered, "Will she go to jail?" Lin Shun replied, "Her actions just now could very well be charged as attempted murder, and she will likely face at least 3 years." He looked at Lu Qing, whose face was ashen and devoid of spirit. This woman, who harbored the deepest hatred, might not even be directed at him, but rather at herself. For whether the assassination succeeded or failed, Lu Qing knew that her fate would not be a favorable one. Perhaps the current outcome was precisely the punishment and redemption she subconsciously sought. At that moment, his backup phone rang. Lin Shun glanced at the screen and saw it was a call from Zhang Qianji. Upon answering, Zhang Qianji asked anxiously, "Lin Shun, are you all right?" Lin Shun smiled and remarked, "It's nothing serious. It's just LV Qing. She lost custody of her child to Wan Hanwen and became somewhat despondent, seeking vengeance against me. But I have subdued her." Zhang Qianji breathed a sigh of relief, then chuckled wryly, "As long as it's nothing serious." Lin Shun, the nature of your live stream is truly nerve-wracking. Have you considered purchasing insurance? Lin Shun chuckled softly. "Zhang, you are overthinking it. These 2 incidents were exceptional circumstances. In our lawful society, where are the desperate individuals?" After exchanging a few more words, Zhang Qianji hung up the phone. Soon, the situation resembled that of the previous day, with calls flooding in from Zhong Wenzhou, Yi Xiaoxi, and Song Zhuya. Lin Shun responded to each one. Once he finished the calls, Li Yuan had also completed the record. After bidding Lin Shun farewell, Li Yuan escorted LV Qing away in a vehicle, heading towards Beitong County's Ansi. During the period when Lin Shun's livestream was blacked out, the barrage of comments exploded. All viewers, just before the blackout, had witnessed the menacing visage of LV Qing lunging at Lin Shun with a knife. "That's it. It's been so long. Why hasn't Lin Shun resumed the stream? Could he really have been stabbed? Yesterday, it was Zue Yunlong. And now a madwoman appears wanting to stab Lin Shun. Is it really that dangerous to livestream nowadays?" That woman was shouting for Lin Shun to return her child. What does that even mean? Could it be that Lin Shun is actually involved? I suspect that Jie Sun is behind this. One plan fails, and another emerges. I watched the replay several times. That woman looks a lot like LV Qing. Wait, is that for real? The LV Qing shared by Zhang Yuan and Huang Daiping? Her 2-year-old child is actually Lin Shun's? As the comments rolled in, countless individuals expressed their concern for Lin Shun's safety. Simultaneously, news of Lin Shun's stabbing spread like wildfire across various social media platforms. Many who saw the news initially reacted with confusion, thinking it was a repeat of yesterday's report. Upon clicking to read further, they were taken aback. How many enemies has this streamer made to be stabbed on a daily basis? Curiosity piqued. They flocked to Lin Shun's livestream. In the numerous live streams on the platform, various rumors circulated. A major incident has occurred. Lin Shun has been stabbed again. How tragic. Lin Shun has been wildly stirring up trouble. Even children are involved now, and a female fan pursued him across miles, stabbing him multiple times. This time, Lin Shun is truly finished. He's been stabbed through the chest and back, with his intestines spilling out. It's madness. A pregnant female fan has gone berserk, not only killing Lin Shun, but also slitting the throats of Li Xiao and Shui. Recent news. The person who stabbed Lin Shun is LV Qing. The reason Lin Shun sent Zhang Yuan and the others to prison is that her child is his. Each rumor more outrageous than the last. The effect was pronounced, as countless spectators surged into Lin Shun's livestream, while many wandering fans of Fan Mao Mao and others reveled in the chaos. Ha ha ha, Lin Dog is finally dead. He deserves it. Woohoo, Lin Dog, your end is so tragic. I knew it would happen sooner or later. Everyone, let us spit on him and leave. My only hope remaining on this platform is to see when Lin Dog dies. If he truly passes, I'll rush to his livestream to celebrate. This is what we call evil reaping its rewards. The heavens have finally rid us of this scoundrel. Quan Dog, you can now rest in peace. All the streamers witnessing these comments were left bewildered. Is this truly the most popular figure online? Indeed, it is terrifying. The narrative is played out in such a dramatic fashion, constantly being stabbed. With such intense competition, how are smaller streamers supposed to survive? In the Fengyin Hall of Fame chat group, numerous leading streamers were taken aback as messages flooded in. If it were anyone else, they might suspect a scripted performance. However, when it comes to Lin Chun, they all knew his streams are grounded in reality. If he claims to have been stabbed, then he indeed has been. Their discussions revolved around two main points: whether Lin Chun had truly been stabbed and the fact that his live streaming approach is irreplicable and far too perilous. The essence of live streaming is to earn money, but who can withstand being stabbed for 2 consecutive days? In comparison, Fan Mao Mao being struck on the head with a bottle during a fan altercation seems trivial. Chapter 319. The Chain Reaction of the Side Quest. The enemy strikes again. Lin Chun stood beneath the eaves of the inn, watching as Li Yuan drove away with LV Qing. Before departing, Li Yuan stated that he would return immediately after escorting her to Ansi in Beitong Town. Lin Chun could only express his gratitude and advise caution on the road. Just as he was about to return to the inn's lobby, he suddenly felt a stirring within, raising his gaze to the ominous, dark clouds above. At that moment, thunder rumbled ominously, lightning flickering within the clouds like a hidden silver dragon, and torrents of rain began to pour down. He reached out, catching the rainwater cascading from the eaves. Observing the droplets in his palm, an unusual glint sparkled in his eyes. He brought it closer to his nose for a sniff, then extended his tongue to taste some of the rainwater. Suddenly, a brilliant light erupted in his eyes, revealing a rare look of incredulity. He had thought he was mistaken in his sensation, but it turned out to be true. As a practitioner of the innate skill, he understood that the world was suffused with exceedingly thin celestial energy, the source of his internal qi. However, the rainwater now contained a faint trace of this celestial energy, which was rather extraordinary. He closed his eyes, focusing intently. Instantly, he discerned that the celestial energy in the surrounding space was indeed denser than before, albeit only slightly. This increase was minute, less than 1/10,000th, and if not for his careful perception, it would be easily overlooked. As he let the rainwater slip from his hand, his eyes flickered with uncertainty. He strongly suspected that this transformation was a result of the Yuan magnetic divine needle being cast into Sister Lake. Silently operating the innate skill, Lin Chun discovered that both the total amount and efficiency of the celestial energy he could absorb had improved compared to the past. This only solidified his inner conviction. It was highly likely that with the Yuan magnetic divine needle's effect, the celestial energy within the stars had begun to release more of its essence. The rain, laden with celestial energy, falling upon the earth would benefit all living things. In the long run, vegetation would grow more easily, yielding larger and more nutritious fruits. Ordinary humans consuming these fruits, water, or even animals infused with celestial energy would enhance their physique and strengthen their bones. For martial artists, the elusive internal qi that previously only existed in records could very well become a reality. He couldn't help but ponder the ancient records of strength capable of lifting cauldrons and supporting city gates. Perhaps there is indeed some truth to it. Back then, the celestial energy was far more abundant, and ancient people grew up consuming food imbued with celestial energy, coupled with years of labor, resulting in stronger physiques than those of modern individuals. If someone were to cultivate and attain internal qi, their strength would be immeasurable. Yet, for reasons unknown, the celestial energy gradually diminished, leading to the decline of martial arts, and ultimately severing its transmission. In today's world, many techniques have been lost, and those that remain have become mere scraps of paper, yielding little to no results. Lin Chun suddenly grasped why the side quest was titled Transforming Heaven and Earth. He promptly inquired within his mind, "System, if I complete the side quest, to what extent will the celestial energy on this planet increase?" "System, it can be increased threefold based on the existing levels." "Only threefold?" Lin Chun silently calculated. The current celestial energy is exceedingly weak. While a threefold increase may seem substantial, it actually doesn't amount to much. The degree of vitality in the world barely allows a few exceptionally gifted individuals to cultivate true energy, which is better than nothing. It is laughable to think one could lift the city gates, let alone manage to hold a girlfriend for half an hour. Comparing oneself to someone like him, who possesses systematic assistance, is futile. One can only say that this quest indeed brought some remarkable changes to the world, unlocking a different possibility. Without pondering further, he turned and returned to the tavern's main hall, instructing Xiao Ji to commence a live stream. As the live stream began, an avalanche of comments flooded in. "Haha, I knew Lin Chun would be fine. What a pity, I didn't get to see how Lin Chun subdued that crazy woman." "Lin Chun? Who is that woman?" "Many say she is LV Qing. Is it true?" "A blogger has compared them closely. It's definitely LV Qing. Now I want to know, is her child Zhang Yuan's or Lin Chun's?" "Don't ask. Just know that Lin Chun shook hands with LV Qing 3 years ago." There were also many lurking haters in Lin Chun's live stream, along with fans from other streamers, who were utterly disappointed. How is this guy so hard to kill? Is he invincible? Lin Shun, noticing the barrage of inquiries regarding the child, felt speechless. He chuckled helplessly and stated, "That person is indeed LV Qing. To put it simply, she has lost her backing and has had her child custody taken by Wan Hanwen. So in a moment of despair, she sought revenge on me. She has already been sent to the Ansi in Beitong County, and there is nothing more to discuss. Let the law handle it." Upon hearing this, the audience gathered in the live stream suddenly understood. They began to criticize LV Qing, echoing the sentiment that those who are pitiful often have their own faults. Many expressed sympathy for Wan Hanwen, stating they had become fans and rushed to leave encouraging comments on his social media. Wan Hanwen's fan base surged as a result. Lin Shin refrained from mentioning LV Qing again and sat down to have dinner with Li Xiao. A moment later, Wan Hanwen sent 50 carnival gifts. The screen lit up with celebratory comments. Wan Hanwen remarked, "Sorry, my ex-wife caused you trouble." The moment this gift appeared, it ignited excitement in Lin Shin's live stream. Wow! The esteemed Wan Hanwen actually came to send gifts. Is he thanking Lin Shin for avenging him? Wan Gu is having a tough time. He truly is the most tragic figure in the entertainment industry this year. Ex-wife? Has Wan Gu divorced LV Qing? I didn't see that in the news. As someone who has been through similar experiences, I deeply empathize with Wan Gu's feelings. It's ridiculous to claim a child isn't mine when they say it's from too much soy sauce during pregnancy, making the child's skin dark. Do they think I'm foolish? In this day and age, finding a good woman is exceedingly difficult. My ex-girlfriend often complained that I was too controlling, impeding her normal relationships. Exactly. Women are all deceivers. My wife is too afraid of pain to have children, so I had one with her best friend. And now she wants a divorce. Who do I turn to for justice? Lin Shin first thanked Wan Hanwen for the gift, then addressed him, Wan Gu. LV Qing shouldn't have any further opportunities to harass you. Don't lose faith in the future due to temporary setbacks. Believe me, you deserve better. Wan Hanwen replied with a thank you and exited the live stream. After finishing dinner with the two women, Lin Shun returned to his room, preparing to casually chat with the audience before ending the stream. Suddenly, a comment appeared in the live stream. Everyone, quickly check the news. 5-Star Group has released an official announcement, claiming Lin Shun has stolen their patented invention. The moment this comment appeared, it instantly ignited the entire live stream. Lin Shun noticed the comment, and his gaze turned icy. The 5-Star Group had finally taken action. Chapter 320, Super Breaking News. Lin Shun's live streaming phone is about to be upgraded. Lin Shun took out his backup phone and opened the news app. He quickly found the announcement mentioned in the comments. Upon a cursory glance, the content was quite lengthy. The 5-Star Group seemed intent on proving the authenticity of their announcement, even attaching their design blueprints. The design, featuring a circular appearance, embedded propellers, and a hovering design, made him chuckle. It was evident the 5-Star Group feared exposure, as they did not dare to claim that thermal semi-fluid batteries and intelligent AI were also their designs, focusing solely on the appearance and flight-capable design concept. They even specially noted the design date as being 2 years prior. Lin Shin glanced at the comments in the live stream, which had erupted. What the heck? That startled me. I just want to take a look, and they think this constitutes patent theft? I'm baffled. Just drawing a circular phone with a few propellers and claiming theft? The 5-Star Group is truly shameless. Just one image, if they have the capability. Let them produce a real device and compare it to Lin Shin's phone to see who is superior. According to the 5-Star Group's logic, if I draw a blueprint for a flying saucer, then if someone genuinely invents one, they would be stealing my design. The comments were overwhelmingly in Lin Shin's favor. Even many fans who held animosity toward Lin Shin could no longer tolerate the 5-Star Group's actions. Internal disputes were one thing, but at critical moments, unity against a common enemy was essential. Lin Shin smiled and said, "Seeing everyone else's comments reassures me. Initially, I didn't want to speak on this matter, but since the 5-Star Group has been so brazen, I might as well drop a bombshell. Those who have watched my streams should remember that shortly after I left the old Capitol Bridge, I was robbed by a man and woman on a motorcycle. Their target was clearly my live streaming phone. Later, I heard that those two might be spies from Meta country infiltrating Tang country. I'm not sure how true that is." As soon as he spoke, the comments exploded. What the heck? Is this true? As an old fan, I witnessed the entire incident. I never imagined they were spies from Meta country. Spies from Meta country? They must have been instigated by the 5-Star Group. I'm shocked. The 5-Star Group is this shameless, and Lin Shin has kept such a tight lid on it until now. What do you mean you heard? Lin Shun, your courage is still too small. Just call them out directly. Goodness, Lin Shun is no longer satisfied with dealing with domestic companies. He is now targeting foreign forces? I must report. My wife is likely a spy. She often sneaks off to the bathroom at night to send messages and photos while I'm asleep. When I check her phone later, there are no chat records. She is probably in contact with foreign forces. I want to report too. My wife often comes home at 3 or 4 in the morning, claiming to play mahjong, but I've confirmed she never went to a mahjong parlor. She is likely meeting with foreign spies. I want to report as well. The last time I met my long-distance girlfriend, I noticed a sudden influx of midnight payments on her phone, either 300 or 500. I suspect these are funds from foreign forces for spy expenses. The reporters and self-media bloggers in the live stream were beside themselves with excitement. This was explosive news, sure to create a nationwide sensation. Lin Chun continued, furthermore, I want to say that the things 5-Star Group has copied are outdated. You may see me walking around all day, but in reality, I'm constantly thinking. My mind is brimming with entirely new designs, such as eliminating the propellers. If the 5-Star Group truly has the capability, they should create a similar design. Upon hearing this, countless comments immediately flooded the screen. I barely graduated from high school and have a weak question. How can it fly without propellers? Is Lin Chun planning to incorporate magnetic levitation into the phone? But wait, without repulsion, how can it levitate? What the heck? How can Lin Chun say that? This is clearly not a mobile phone, but rather a miniature UFO. Lin Chun, are you joking? You, a mere hiking streamer, have actually invented a UFO? As a graduate student in electrodynamics, Lin Chun, are you truly serious? If you can indeed create such a device, you should be pre-ordering next year's Nobel Prize in Physics. The countless viewers in the live stream were astounded. Those lacking in cultural depth merely felt an unexplainable awe, perhaps thinking Lin Chun was boasting. However, the more knowledgeable audience, particularly those versed in the field of physics, were internally tumultuous. They found it hard to believe, yet dared not dismiss it entirely. After all, the one making these claims was Lin Chun. Just because others might falter, it did not imply he would. Lin Chun chuckled and added, unfortunately, I currently lack the appropriate tools and materials. Otherwise, upon reaching Badong, I could upgrade Xiaoji further. The barrage of comments erupted even more fervently, with countless impressive, flooding the screen. At that moment, his backup phone rang. Lin Chun glanced at it, and saw it was a call from Zhong Wenzhou. He excused himself to take the call, and muted Xiaoji. Moving aside, he answered the phone. Immediately, Zhong Wenzhou's astonished voice came through. Lin Guo, Lin Yi, Lin Chun. Are you serious about what you just said? Have you really developed UFO technology? Lin Chun replied, sort of. Whether it will be successful can only be determined through experimentation. Zhong Wenzhou fell silent for several seconds before exclaiming, you're incredible. Lin Chun smiled wryly. Has anything come from the higher-ups regarding the Wuxing group? Zhong Wenzhou's tone turned grave as he said, as you mentioned earlier, it's time to disclose the 2 spies we captured. Furthermore, the higher-ups will surely implement additional countermeasures. He clenched his teeth, adding, He Tang has truly lost his mind, daring to collude with foreign enemies. He will definitely face dire consequences. Just wait for the news. Lin Chun nodded, aware that He Tang would likely end up playing cards with Bai Qiyuan and Nieliangyan in no time. Just then, a beeping sound interrupted, and Zhong Wenzhou said, don't hang up. I need to take another call. Lin Chun replied affirmatively. Zhong Wenzhou swiftly switched to another call. A minute later, he returned, his voice tinged with excitement. Lin Guo, the higher-ups have spoken. They will fully support your upgrade of Xiaoji. Let me know what tools and materials you need, and they will be prepared by tomorrow when you arrive in Badong County. If you require assistance, we will urgently dispatch high-end talent to assist you. Lin Chun was taken aback and then inquired, did they say anything else? Zhong Wenzhou replied, nothing more. Lin Chun felt a warmth in his heart and said, then send 2 or 3 people over to help me out. On the other end, Zhong Wenzhou smiled and agreed before hanging up. Chapter 321, He Tang's Arrest. Lin Chun's counterattack. To be honest, Lin Chun was somewhat surprised that the higher-ups did not directly request the submission of related technology. The suspension technology that eliminates propellers possesses immense military value, and had they been more stringent, they might not have allowed him to apply this technology to Xiaoji. If foreign forces were to seize the live streaming phone, it could lead to a significant leak of technology. Lin Chun pondered, realizing that this likely stemmed from a solid foundation of cooperation between both parties, compounded by the incident involving the fallen spy satellite from the colorful flag nation, which led the higher-ups to re-evaluate their considerations regarding him and respect his personal will even more. Of course, they were not entirely indifferent to the technology. Hence their more tactful approach in suggesting the dispatch of a few personnel to assist, who would effectively be apprentices. Nevertheless, Lin Chun thought they might be overestimating the situation. Such technology, held tightly in hand, could not breed results. It ultimately required collaboration with the authorities to be utilized effectively. In the midst of tumultuous circumstances, only a powerful homeland could allow him to hike peacefully. Simultaneously, the more he showcased his value, the sturdier his backing would become, resulting in a genuine win-win scenario. After a moment's contemplation, Lin Shen spent a few minutes compiling a list and sent it to Zhong Wenzhou. In truth, he had not spoken falsely. After redeeming the basic golden brain, not only had his mental acuity surged, but even Einstein would rise from his grave to proclaim Lin Ji's brilliance. During his leisurely walks, he would engage in dual thinking, conducting research within the realm of intellectual exploration. By now, he had developed a mature upgrade plan, with enhanced flight technology being merely one aspect of it. Upon returning to the live-streaming phone, Lin Shen instructed Xiao Ji to unmute. Noticing the barrage still discussing the Wuxing group, he stated, "There really isn't much to discuss here. After all, the Mida Nation has been pulling such stunts more than once or twice. Everything they claim to have invented must stem from a deep-seated inferiority complex if they're incessantly fixating on what others have. So let's just enjoy the spectacle." Upon hearing this, the audience in the live stream erupted in laughter. There were countless similar news stories online, frequently reporting on how yet another item was sent by Mida Nation for heritage submission, provoking both anger and amusement. At that moment, someone in the comments alerted everyone. Quickly check the Tangsher news replay. An emergency broadcast just interrupted, reporting that He Tang has been arrested at the hospital. As soon as this comment appeared, the entire live stream erupted in excitement. I saw the news too. It's true, but they didn't specify the reason for his arrest. Just that he is under investigation. I noticed there was another emergency broadcast following that one, stating that 2 spies from the Mida Nation were arrested according to the law. With these 2 news items broadcast together, there must be a connection. Exactly. Everything aligns. The spies mentioned in the news are the same 2 who stole the phone. Now that their arrest is being announced alongside He Tang's, there must be a reason. I can't believe it. Is it possible that He Tang colluded with the Wuxing group in retaliation against Lin Shen? Is the Jishuan group now a den of spies? This world is too crazy. Just this afternoon, He Chun was arrested, and now He Tang too. Is there a family of loyal martyrs? What family of loyal martyrs? It's clearly a family of annihilation. Lin Shen, you must confess, did you file a report? The Lin Shen theorem is terrifying. It's almost as if there's divine assistance. Whoever touches it meets their doom. Thankfully, none of my girlfriend's husbands possess Lin Shen's abilities. Otherwise, I would have died a dozen times by now. Lin Shen stared at the barrage, momentarily taken aback. The National Security Bureau must have been stationed at the hospital well in advance. Otherwise, their actions wouldn't have been so swift. Moreover, the emergency broadcast was not solely for his benefit. It was also for the Wuxing group to witness. It signified that they were fully aware of their petty affairs and would not show leniency. He Tang had overestimated himself, truly believing that the higher-ups would refrain from taking action out of concern for the bigger picture. Jishuan had matured into a stable company. It would not falter due to the absence of any individual. The timing for retribution was simply not yet ripe. Regardless, another formidable enemy had been eliminated, and Lin Shen finally felt a sense of relief wash over him. A smile involuntarily crept onto his face. Instantly, the barrage was filled with comments such as "Wow." He smiled. He smiled. This must be Lin Shen's doing. Lin Shen is incredible. The National Security Bureau should send some points. Seeing this, Lin Shen feigned exasperation, saying, "Everyone, please don't put me in a bind. I admit, I am indeed somewhat pleased that He Tang has been arrested, so what is wrong with smiling? Even if he did conspire with the Wuxing group, the credit for uncovering it belongs to the relevant departments, not me. If it weren't for the colorful flag nation still fixating on the fallen spy satellite, I would have simply acknowledged it. But for now, to avoid drawing their attention, I must deny any involvement." While some believed Lin Shen's words, others remained skeptical. Reflecting on the matter, Lin Shen's assertion holds merit. Even if He Tang were to conspire with the 5-star group, it would undoubtedly be through clandestine communication, likely of a one-on-one nature. How could Lin Shen, who is miles away in the Sichuan region, possibly be aware of such dealings? Perhaps he was overthinking it. Noticing that the conversation had shifted, Lin Shen promptly declared, "Today has been quite eventful, and I find myself rather fatigued. Let us conclude here for the day. Until tomorrow." His words were met with a flurry of dissenting comments in the chat, along with remarks such as "When is it not eventful for you?" And "All right then, let's wrap it up for today." With a smile, Lin Shen bid farewell, ending the broadcast for the day. He then retrieved a bottle of purified water from the cabinet and took a few sips. A surge of anger boiled within him. The 5-star group, indeed? Zheng Xiangnan. Is it? If they dare to provoke, they must be prepared for the consequences. He was unconcerned about how the higher-ups would retaliate. He had his own methods to address the issues at hand. Sitting on his bed, he began to recite a medium-level curse, directing his wrath toward Luo Xianyi first, cursing her for 10 minutes with a side effect to transfer afterward. He wondered where she could be at this moment, with such torrential rain. He would not mind if she encountered a mudslide along the way. Being buried would be the best outcome. After 10 minutes, he turned his curse upon Zheng Xiangnan, again for a duration of 10 minutes. Following that, he cursed Pei Shanshan for over 5 minutes. Only when he felt somewhat drained did he cease. His face bore a calm expression, as if he were a sage. He then inquired of Xiaozhi, "Xiaozhi, can you infiltrate the factory systems of the 5-star group located worldwide?" Xiaozhi's voice brimmed with excitement as he replied, "Father, tell me, how shall we exact our revenge?" Lin Shen cleared his throat and said, "It is quite simple. I want the defect rate of the electronic products produced by the 5-star group to exceed 60%. Chapter 322. Targeted again. Nighttime assault amidst rain. Xiaozhi curiously asked, "Father, do you intend for all the 5-star group's mobile phones to become bombs?" Lin Chen's eye twitched, and he replied sternly, "Xiaozhi, that line of thinking is rather perilous. Besides, the 5-star group's electronic products extend beyond mere mobile phones. You could tamper with other electronic components, such as motherboards and chips. In summary, causing damage that results in the 5-star group incurring losses of 1 billion or so is acceptable, but we must not endanger lives." Xiaozhi acknowledged, "Oh, I understand." Lin Shen smiled with satisfaction. Despite the 5-star group's vast empire and extensive industrial involvement, their true revenue powerhouse remained their electronic products, which accounted for over 60% of their total profits. Should this sector falter, it would surely inflict significant harm upon the 5-star group. At this juncture, Xiaozhi remarked, "Father, Steve Bale, the leader of the Balanced Society, is currently en route to the highest residence of the colorful flag nation to meet with the alliance chief." Lin Chen's brow furrowed at this news. Was it truly a case of one problem following another? Just as the 5-star group emerged, now Steve Bale reappeared? Lin Chen had nearly forgotten about him. He inquired, "What does he intend to do?" Xiaozhi explained, "It is because you mentioned during your live broadcast the need to upgrade the streaming phone, which has garnered significant attention from the Mango Factory." The president of the Mango Factory, Guduli Jia, contacted the alliance chief of the colorful flag nation, who subsequently convened a meeting to discuss the matter. Steve Bale, being the largest arms manufacturer in the colorful flag nation, is also on the attendee list. Lin Chun was left speechless. Was the Mango Factory now fixated on him? Was it really necessary to take his light-hearted boasting so seriously? Given their fervor for seriousness, he felt compelled to turn his exaggerated claims into reality. He then asked, "Can we eavesdrop on their conversation?" Xiaozhi affirmed, "If the meeting is held in the alliance chief's office, we can." The War Bear Nation secretly infiltrated and installed a listening device the size of a soybean in the alliance chief's office over 6 months ago, and it remains undetected. Upon hearing this, Lin Chen chuckled. In the contemporary world, the greatest adversary of the colorful flag nation was none other than the Tang Nation or the War Bear Nation. With the War Bear Nation's inherent combat capabilities and the alliance chief's background in intelligence, it was impressive that they managed to install a listening device in the office of the colorful flag nation's alliance chief. However, this development certainly alleviated many concerns. He promptly instructed, "Continue monitoring that side and inform me of their intentions once you have results." Xiaozhi responded, "Understood, Father." Lin Chen did not dwell on the matter. Even if he were indeed being watched, so what? This was the Tang Nation. As long as he was aware of potential leads in advance and notified Zhong Wenzhou, spies sent by the colorful flag nation would have no opportunity to approach him. Though it was still early, Lin Chen decided to retire for the night. Before sleeping, he cursed Steve Bale and Gu Duli Jia for 5 minutes each. After an indeterminate period, Lin Chen awoke in the darkness. A minute later, a knock echoed at the door. Rising, he glanced at the time. It was already past 3 in the morning. He opened the door to find Li Ziao, clad in her pajamas, standing at the threshold with a pitiful expression. He inquired, "What is it?" Li Ziao, her complexion slightly pale, replied, "The thunder outside is too loud. I'm scared." Lin Chen listened and indeed heard the thunder rumbling outside. He sighed, "Isn't Schwer sleeping in the same room as you? Why not go to her?" Li Ziao's cheeks flushed, and she said, "She is in such a deep sleep that I cannot wake her. Can I stay with you for a while? I will leave once the thunder subsides." Lin Chen hesitated. "It's rather late. Is that appropriate?" No sooner had he spoken than he noticed Li Ziao looking at him with pleading eyes, her eyelids slightly red. He rubbed the back of his neck, resigned, and stepped aside, saying, "All right, but just for a little while." Li Ziao nodded eagerly, a smile breaking across her face as she breezed past him and entered the room. Lin Chen shook his head with a wry smile. Observing Li Ziyao's slender figure, without warning, he delivered a fierce kick toward her back. The moment the kick was unleashed, the air exploded. It was enough to send someone as frail as Li Ziao flying several meters away, let alone a robust man like Bong. If the kick landed solidly, one need not consider whether her spine would break. It could very well rupture her lungs. In a split second, Li Ziao, facing away from Lin Chen, suddenly lunged forward, rolling just in time to evade the kick. As she landed in a half-crouch, she looked up, her beautiful eyes filled with terror as she gazed at Lin Chen. She saw a large foot descending toward her in an unrelenting manner, akin to a football player striking a powerful shot at the goal. Li Ziao shivered all over. And in that life-or-death moment, she crossed her arms in front of her head, while simultaneously pushing off the ground, leaping backward with all her strength. Crack! Her left arm, crossed in front, collapsed and twisted upon impact, and she was propelled like a cannonball, crashing through the third-floor window, plummeting into the darkness amidst the lightning's illumination. The thunder's roar, coupled with the fact that this was the hour when most people were in deep slumber, meant that such a commotion went unnoticed. The moment Li Ziao flew out of the window, Lin Chen, with a stern expression, was already perched on the window ledge, his figure resembling a great rock taking flight. Leaping from 3 stories high, thud! As his feet struck the ground, debris and mud splattered around him. Lin Chen stood tall, allowing the torrential rain to drench him completely. He strode toward the woman lying on the grass 3 meters ahead. The woman, her left arm already broken, struggled to rise, supporting herself with her right arm. Blood pouring from her mouth and nose as she strained to widen her eyes to look at Lin Chen. However, the impact from the earlier blow had inflicted severe trauma, rendering her vision of Lin Chen a mere haze of shadows. Simultaneously, an intense wave of nausea surged within her. At that moment, it was nothing short of miraculous that she could still stand. The woman spat out a mouthful of blood, wiping the fresh crimson that flowed from her nose. From somewhere, she produced a syringe and plunged it directly into her neck, injecting the liquid inside. Instantly, her mind cleared as she spoke. I thought I had disguised myself convincingly. How did you see through it? Lin Chen stood a meter away, shaking his head with a smile. Your little tricks might fool an average person, but to me, the flaws are glaringly obvious. Firstly, I am an old classmate of Li Ziao, so I know she is not afraid of thunder. Secondly, you should watch my livestream more. Otherwise, you would know that Li Ziao and the others now call me Qin Shun, not Lin Chen. Thirdly, you are too anxious. There is a smell of sweat and mud on you, whereas Li Ziao has already bathed and would not carry such odors. Fourthly, while your facial and bodily disguise closely resembles Li Ziao, there is one crucial difference. It is easy to make something small appear large, but to mask something large as small is exceedingly difficult. Lin Chen's gaze was fixed confidently on the woman's neck. The real Li Ziao would never have such a size. He then added with a smirk, Luo Xianyi, I have been waiting for you for a long time. Chapter 323, A Disappointment. Science must be considered as the rain washed away the remnants of makeup on Li Ziao's face. A gel-like substance began to drip from her skin, ultimately revealing a visage that was utterly unfamiliar. Not Li Ziao, nor Luo Xianyi, but instead a face of no particular distinction. Lin Chen raised an eyebrow. It seems even Luo Xianyi is merely a fabricated identity of yours. Luo Xianyi laughed, her eyes reflecting both shock and the exhilaration of a predator spotting its prey. Lin Chen continued, you deliberately chose to challenge me in Baton County to lower my guard. From the very beginning, the assassination was scheduled for tonight. You are quite formidable, having evaded the scrutiny of the Anghua division and managing to travel here from Qingshi in such a short time. You must have had little rest along the way. As he spoke, Lin Chen was multitasking, silently reciting the curse of misfortune while observing Luo Xianyi. He noticed she bore several small wounds on her hands and feet, akin to scratches. The curse appeared to have taken effect. Perhaps she had encountered falling rocks or mudslides along the way. Yet, Luo Xianyi had relied on her exceptional agility and reflexes to navigate through. Suddenly, Luo Xianyi's brow furrowed, the familiar pang of abdominal cramps returning. When she had appeared before Lin Chen, her pale complexion was not an act of feigned frailty, but a result of excessive blood loss over the past 2 days. She spoke slowly. Indeed, you are aware of many things, including my being pursued by the Anghua division in Qingshi. That was your doing, wasn't it? This is far more interesting. Killing ordinary people is too mundane. Only by taking the life of someone like you will I find true pleasure. With a flick of her wrist, a short blade, gleaming with blood, fell from her sleeve into her grasp. She stepped forward, deliberately closing the distance to Lin Chen, the blade dancing between her fingers like a deadly butterfly. Her smile, illuminated by lightning, appeared both pale and sinister. From the moment we met, your death was already decreed. Did you truly believe I was unaware of the mud and blood scent on me? That was merely to mask the volatile scent of the drugs I concealed. She continued. Do you feel a tingling in your limbs, your breath becoming labored, the urge to cough? Fear not. I would never allow such a fine quarry to perish from poison. That would be a waste. I intend to carve your flesh piece by piece. My knife skills are exquisite, ensuring you will endure for at least 2 hours. This is not cruelty. It is my acknowledgement of you. Lin Shen regarded her with indifference. You leave me somewhat disappointed. He had indeed harbored expectations for Luo Xianyi, believing that a woman capable of defeating 4 9-star assassins must possess genuine skill. Yet, here she was, resorting to disguise and drugs, devoid of any palpable flow of true energy within her. The only consolation was that she seemed to grasp some rudimentary techniques of blood and energy manipulation, allowing her to withstand a mere fraction of his previous kick. However, her methods paled in comparison to those he had taught Zhong Wenzhou, suggesting either a lack of proper lineage or insufficient mastery. In any case, it was what it was. Upon hearing Lin Shen's words, Luo Xianyi seemed provoked, her eyes narrowing as her internal energy surged, propelling her into a shadowy blur as she lunged at Lin Shen. The short blade in her hand flickered unpredictably, aiming for various parts of Lin Shen's body. To Lin Shen, the only impression was that her flashy moves were quite impressive. Just as he resolved to strike and eliminate her entirely, a bolt of lightning suddenly tore through the clouds, striking the blade in her hand. Luo Xianyi erupted in radiant light. Boom! The sound of thunder followed, and as the brilliance faded, the dark-clad Luo Xianyi remained frozen, her body rigid, collapsing backward, her mouth emitting a foul-smelling black smoke. She had been struck dead by lightning, having leaped away at the first sign of the lightning. Lin Shen stared at Luo Xianyi's lifeless form, momentarily stunned before he inhaled sharply. He did not perceive this as mere coincidence. Most likely, it was the curse of misfortune manifesting. He had often wondered whether continuously casting the curse on someone could lead to their demise. Now he had his answer. Luo Xianyi was the first person he had cursed to death. After a brief reflection, Lin Shen understood the situation. Quantitative changes lead to qualitative changes. From the moment he learned of Luo Xianyi's intentions to kill him, he had intermittently cursed her. However, due to her inherent strength, the effects of the curse had not been immediately apparent. This did not imply that the curses he had cast previously had lost their potency. On the contrary, they had silently accumulated and intensified. It was only moments ago, during their exchange, that he continued the incantation, breaching a critical threshold. Thus, he had summoned the righteous thunder from above. Reflecting on this, Lin Shen gazed at Luo Xianyi's body, feeling a sense of melancholy. This was the essence of fate. What is a blessing is not a calamity, and what is a calamity cannot be evaded. One may evade the 1st of the month, but not the 15th. He then returned to the inn, leaping lightly onto the shattered windowsill of the 3rd floor. With a surge of true energy from his innate skill, he shook off all the rainwater. Back in his room, he grabbed his spare phone and dialed Zhong Wenzhou's number. After several seconds, the call finally connected. On the other end, Zhong Wenzhou's voice was weak. Lingu, I truly beg you. I worked overtime until after 2, and after another half hour of work, I just lay down for a few minutes. If this continues, I might just drop dead. Lin Shen could discern that Zhong Wenzhou was indeed exhausted. Apologizing profusely, he immediately got to the point. Luo Xianyi just tried to kill me. Upon hearing this, Zhong Wenzhou, who had been lying down, jolted upright, his eyes widening in shock. He quickly covered the phone, glanced at the person beside him, threw on a robe, and hurried into his study, locking the door behind him. He spoke in a low voice. What is the situation? Lin Shen replied, she is dead. Zhong Wenzhou gasped in astonishment. Then, as the realization set in, he found it only fitting. The higher-ups had long suspected that Lin Shen, so casually sharing the blood and energy manipulation method, must possess even more formidable abilities. His personal strength was undoubtedly terrifying. Luo Xianyi, unaware of Lin Shen's true capabilities, had rashly attempted an assassination, and thus her demise was entirely expected. However, he still inquired, did you kill her? Lin Shen replied solemnly, no, she was struck by lightning. Zhong Wenzhou exclaimed. After several seconds, he finally spoke in a subdued tone. Lingu, let's be honest, we must adhere to some scientific principles, right? Chapter 324, The Schemes of the Colorful Flag Nation. Advanced espionage. Upon hearing this, Lin Shen felt perplexed. Zhonggu, in a highland area during a thunderstorm, she attempted to attack me with a knife and was struck by lightning. How is that unscientific? Zhong Wenzhou, holding his phone, earnestly responded, Lingu, even if you truly killed her, it's not a big deal. There's something I haven't shared with you. Your rank has been confirmed, and you are now a Zhengguosi, which is a level higher than me. Furthermore, the Academy of Sciences has decided to bestow upon you the title of Academician. To put it plainly, you are now the youngest academician in Tang Country. Lo Xianyi was originally a 9-star assassin of the Underworld Network and attempted to murder a Zhengguosi-level military officer. Your act of killing her is not only justified but commendable. Therefore, there is no need to conceal anything. Lin Shen was somewhat astonished. In the honor system of Tang Country, a Zhengguosi is already quite prestigious. If it were not for the military, only national entities like Nguosi would possess such a rank. Above that lies the Zhengguo level, where anyone, regardless of their military achievements, is typically at least 50 years old. This illustrates the significance placed upon him by higher authorities. However, his position as a Zhengguosi held no real power. It was primarily an honorary title with symbolic significance. As for the title of academician, that was merely an additional source of income for him. Nevertheless, Lin Shen insisted. Zhonggu, she truly was struck by lightning. He then succinctly recounted the events. Jumping from the 3rd floor was not a significant feat. Any professionally trained soldier could accomplish it with ease, let alone someone like him, who had mastered the technique of blood and energy manipulation. Thus, there was nothing to hide. Lin Shen concluded, didn't you arrange for a Li Yuan to stay at this inn? He can verify the body. After listening, Zhong Wenzhou took several seconds to suppress his agitation. Unable to contain himself, he remarked, this is too coincidental. How could it be that Lo Xianyi was about to stab you and was then struck by lightning? Lin Shen pondered, perhaps it was her comeuppance. This woman had a twisted nature, and such a fate was self-inflicted. Zhong Wenzhou finally believed him, saying, all right, I'll call Li Yuan and have him handle it. However, since your window is broken, you might want to ask the innkeeper for a different room. I will commend you for this. He could not help but add, to be honest, it's a waste for you not to serve in the military. He then ended the call. Lin Shen smiled. The last person to express such sentiments was Yang Ling, the superior and adoptive father of Song Zhuya. The events surrounding Zhou Shaoshan were still fresh in his mind. Soon, standing before the leaky window, Lin Shen saw Li Yuan, clad in a raincoat, rushing toward Lo Xianyi's corpse. After examining and photographing it, he hoisted the body away. Subsequently, the faint sound of car engines could be heard as 2 vehicles sped off into the rain. Lin Shen could only internally express his apologies. Li Yuan had indeed taken on a thankless task, merely serving as a porter. Lin Shen then exited, descended the stairs, and found the innkeeper at the front desk. This proprietor, like the one from the old capital Chitai Cloud Inn, was also single, struggling to manage the inn by himself, attending to every detail personally. Upon hearing that Lin Shen's window was broken and he wished to change rooms, the bleary-eyed innkeeper looked bewildered and went upstairs to inspect. It was evident that the damage was not due to natural causes. He inquired, how did this window get broken? Lin Shen, maintaining a calm demeanor, replied, I sometimes sleepwalk, and I might have accidentally broken the window while doing so. The innkeeper's face turned pale with fear. Sleepwalking was one thing, but breaking a window, was he trying to jump from the 3rd floor? If someone were to die, he would have to close the inn for good. He immediately arranged for Lin Shen to have a room on the 1st floor. Feeling guilty, Lin Shen assisted the innkeeper in boarding up the shattered window with a piece of wood and compensated for the repair costs before moving his belongings to the new room. Just as he lay down on the bed, Xiao Zhi's voice echoed in his ears. Dad, the meeting in the colorful flag nation concluded half an hour ago. Lin Shen furrowed his brow and asked, what do they intend to do? Xiao Zhi replied, first, the Nguosi of Colorful Flag Nation is monitoring your live stream all day. Additionally, the Meng Shou is preparing to deploy a high-level spy station in Tang Country. Their objectives are threefold: to confirm whether you possess super levitation technology, to obtain relevant technical information, and to attempt to subvert you. If subversion fails, they will resort to kidnapping. If kidnapping is unsuccessful, they will execute you. Lin Shen inquired, what is a spy? Xiao Zhi explained, these are agents whose identities do not even exist in the archives. They have no electronic or paper records. Their existence is known solely to the director of the Nguosi in Colorful Flag Nation and is perpetuated through word of mouth. Unless they come into contact with a secret order, these individuals will not display any abnormalities, remaining undercover in Tang Country until they pass away. Lin Shen pondered, so? Even you do not know the identity of this high-level spy? Xiao Zhi responded, currently. We only know that this high-level spy has infiltrated the Nguosi and holds a certain status, but their specific identity is unknown for now. Lin Shen couldn't help but scoff. The Colorful Flag Nation certainly thought highly of him, resorting to such pawns. The world perceives this as a peaceful era. Yet the unseen skirmishes persist in the shadows, fraught with peril. Not to mention the spies that seem to belong only in espionage films. Just recently, the colorful Flag Nation brazenly allocated substantial funds to openly recruit so-called Mandarin talents from Tang country, revealing their ulterior motives. Furthermore, numerous internet influencers were covertly accepting benefits, openly or secretly supporting foreign powers, distorting public perception, exacerbating social conflicts, and instigating gender divisions. The invisible war has never ceased. Xiaoji continued, "Dad, don't worry. I will keep a close watch on the director of the Inguisi. As soon as he attempts to activate that spy, a logical connection leading into Tang country will inevitably form. I will follow the trail and expose him." Lin Shen shook his head. "Just do your best. If it proves impossible to locate him, it matters not. Whether he intends to bribe or kill me, that person will eventually reveal himself." After contemplating briefly, Lin Shen decided against informing Zhong Wenzhou about this matter. On one hand, such a high-level spy infiltrating the Inguisi would undoubtedly be extremely cautious, with almost no flaws in daily life. If Zhong Wenzhou were to conduct a widespread investigation, it might instead alert the enemy. On the other hand, while it felt somewhat disloyal to the diligent Zhong, it was indeed plausible that Zhong could be that high-level spy. Thus, this matter would have to be resolved solely by Xiao Ji and himself. Chapter 325. The Fate of Pei Shanshan. The law of Lin Shen repeatedly proves its power as Lin Shen drifted back to sleep in the colorful Flag Nation within a public hospital. Pei Shanshan lay on her side in a hospital bed, watching the replay of Lin Shen's livestream. Beside her, a bag hung, filled with murky yellow substances. At this moment, her eyes were filled with hatred. She had merely stepped out to visit a supermarket, yet she unexpectedly found herself caught in a gang shootout, with someone firing a shotgun that turned her backside into a sieve. What was even more devastating was that several pellets had burst her black lotus. After several hours of surgery, all the pellets had been removed, but the doctors had clearly informed her that she would be left with many pockmarks for life. Simultaneously, due to the complete deterioration of her black chrysanthemum muscle tissue, she had no choice but to forfeit its function. After the suturing, an incision was made in her left lower abdomen to install an artificial anus. Henceforth, she would be required to carry a bag for collecting waste at all times. Upon regaining consciousness post-surgery, the sight of the necrotic flesh of her black chrysanthemum presented on a tray by the doctor elicited 2 streams of tears from Pei Shanshan's triangular eyes. Her mind was a whirl of confusion. What had transpired recently? Both the logic group and her father had encountered misfortunes, and she, far away in the land of colorful flags, found herself in this predicament due to an unforeseen street gunfight. What use was her billion-dollar fortune if she was still unable to defecate? Ultimately, all her confusion and resentment fell upon Lin Shen. It was all because of Lin Shen. Ever since he began exposing matters related to the Fenghai Association, neither she nor her family had enjoyed a single day of peace. Furthermore, the more she watched Lin Shen's live broadcasts, the more she felt he was a harbinger of misfortune. Everything associated with him, aside from the few women around him, seemed to meet a dismal fate. Thus, Lin Shen must die. Gazing at Lin Shen's face on the video, Pei Shanshan felt an overwhelming urge to tear it apart. Simultaneously, a wave of agitation surged within her. The time agreed upon was drawing near, yet Xingmong had not yet succeeded. Why was it so arduous to eliminate an internet broadcaster? At that moment, a muffled grunt echoed from the doorway of the hospital room. The door swung open to reveal a white woman clad in a nurse's uniform, effortlessly tossing a burly black man to the ground like a rag doll before locking the door behind her. The man, unable to even draw his gun, had already succumbed to unconsciousness. Pei Shanshan was startled and hurriedly reached for the call button beside her bed. But before she could, a dagger was thrust beside the call button. Startled, she recoiled her hand. The white woman approached the bed, speaking in fluent Tang language. "The next knife will be aimed at your heart." Pei Shanshan turned her head, terror-stricken, to regard the woman. As the woman drew near the bed, a series of cracking sounds resonated from her body, her height swiftly diminishing from nearly 1.8 meters to about 1.65 meters, her frame becoming more petite. She then reached up to her face and peeled off a soft skin mask, revealing the exquisite visage of a renowned Tang country diva. Pei Shanshan's mouth fell agape in disbelief. Luo Xini? Luo Xini was a celebrated musical goddess in Tang country, and Pei Shanshan recognized her instantly. Her mind was nearly blank, unable to comprehend why Luo Xini would suddenly confront her with such ferocity. Luo Xini approached the bedside, calmly regarding Pei Shanshan, and stated, "Xingmong, whom you refer to as Luo Xini, is already dead. You are her last contact. and I wish to know who possesses the ability to kill her. Pei Shanshan felt as if struck by lightning. In utter astonishment, her triangular eyes widened into small copper bells. It was shocking that Xingmong had failed, and equally astonishing that Xingmong was none other than the illustrious Luo Xianyi. A chill enveloped her, and she couldn't help but glance at Lin Chen's image frozen on her phone screen. Was Lin Chen truly so ruthless, capable of inflicting harm upon a beauty like Luo Xianyi? Or was there someone clandestinely protecting him? The woman, strikingly similar to Luo Xianyi, directed her cold gaze at the phone screen and inquired, "Is it him?" Pei Shanshan snapped back to her senses and quickly replied, "Yes, it's him. His name is Lin Shun. He is from Fengying." Before she could finish her sentence, a sharp blade had already silently pierced her heart, accompanied by the sound of cracking bones as the blade twisted within her. Pei Shanshan's eyes widened in terror and disbelief as she gazed at the woman gripping the knife. Only one thought remained in her mind. Why? In the final moments before her consciousness faded, she heard a calm voice seemingly emanating from a distant realm. "Because I just said the next knife would be aimed at your heart." As she looked into Pei Shanshan's dilating pupils, the woman withdrew the blade and swiftly draped a blanket over Pei Shanshan's body, the blade dripping with blood as the crimson liquid surged from her heart, staining the bedding. The monitor by the bed began to emit a piercing alarm. The woman wiped her face, reverting to her white woman guise, her body heightening once again with the sound of cracking bones. She opened the hospital door and slipped past the rapidly approaching medical staff in the corridor. Moments later, within a modest apartment, a woman soaking in a bathtub held her phone, watching a classic replay of Lin Chen's live broadcast. Upon viewing the segment where Lin Chen kicked a rugged vehicle, a contemplative expression graced her beautiful face. Subsequently, when she witnessed Lin Chen effortlessly crumple a metal business card into a small ball, her eyes lit up. She set her phone aside and picked up a heartbeat sensor that would never again awaken. Clenching her fist, a palpable warmth radiated from her knuckles. Seconds later, she opened her palm to reveal that the metallic device had transformed into a lump of scrap iron. However, compared to Lin Chen's feat of compressing the business card, it still fell short. With a languid interest, the woman tossed the scrap iron into the nearby trash bin. The unremarkable true visage of Luo Xianyi floated in her mind. "Senior sister, some things are innate. Even if you take away everything that once belonged to me and don a layer of splendid attire, you will ultimately never become me. Thus, you are merely Luo Xianyi, not Luo Xian. Now that you are dead, I shall reclaim the life that rightfully belongs to me." She then picked up her phone again, her slender fingers brushing over Lin Chen's image, a charming smile gracing her lips. At 7:30 in the morning, Lin Chen awoke precisely on time. Immediately, he heard Xiao Zhi's voice. "Dad, Pei Shanshan is dead." Lin Chen was momentarily stunned. Surely not. Although he had cursed Pei Shanshan twice, it was never to the extent of wishing her demise. He quickly inquired, "How did she die?" Xiao Zhi replied, "She was killed in the hospital. The assailant had preemptively severed the surveillance routes and pierced Pei Shanshan's heart with a single stab. The town security bureau of the Land of Colorful Flags has apprehended a nurse suspected of the crime. But preliminary investigations have shown that the nurse has a flawless alibi and witnesses, leaving the case at a standstill. Unfortunately, there is no Sky Eye system in the Land of Colorful Flags, and the city has too few surveillance cameras. Otherwise, I would have certainly identified the assailant." The news had already spread back home, flooding the internet with related reports. Upon hearing this, Lin Chen's mind immediately conjured the notion of disguise. His instincts told him that Pei Shanshan's death was likely interconnected with Luo Xianyi's demise. Perhaps it was someone with the same legacy as Luo Xianyi who had committed the act. If this were true, it would be a chain reaction, unrelated to the curse he had recited the previous night. He felt an overwhelming headache. Would it be like what he had read in certain stories, where a minor offense led to a major consequence? How vexing. After a brief wash, Lin Chen grabbed a spare phone to check the news. Sure enough, he stumbled upon the report detailing Pei Shanshan's death. The news elaborated that the town security bureau of the Land of Colorful Flags suspected that Pei Shanshan's previous shooting incident was not coincidental. It was then that Lin Chen learned that Pei Shanshan had lost her black chrysanthemum in that shooting, resulting in the necessity for an artificial one, a truly tragic fate. It was almost on par with the infamous Ask the Brother incident. Scanning through the comments section, some expressed sympathy while others spun wild conspiracy theories. However, the overwhelming sentiment was one of approval, with many even lauding the assailant as a patriotic hero. Lin Chen's eyes twitched as he noticed that several people even mentioned him, exclaiming that the Lin Chen theorem had once again manifested. It is difficult to discern whether these individuals are true fans or detractors, leaving me to sigh in resignation. At this juncture, Overthinking is futile. If anyone were to approach me again, I would simply confront them head-on. One comes, I deal with one. Two come, I handle both. After exiting, I glanced at the news regarding the leader of the Tiansheng Association, Steve Baylor, and the president of Mango Studios, Gadulika. Relevant news surfaced immediately, significantly uplifting my spirits. Just 3 hours prior, Gadulika's helicopter experienced a malfunction and nearly crashed. Fortunately, it made a successful emergency landing. The other passengers were unharmed. But Gadulika sustained a head injury resulting in intracranial bleeding, necessitating urgent medical attention. Steve Baylor, on the other hand, suffered a heart attack during his hospitalization, prompting a critical condition notification. For reasons unknown, his 3 children ended up in a brawl at the hospital, resulting in 1 dead and 1 injured. Such explosive news quickly ascended to the entertainment headlines in the land of Chi-Chi. As I reflected on the importance of familial education, I stumbled upon the latest news about Zheng Xiangnan, the newly appointed head of the 5-star group in Madagwo, who has tested positive for AIDS. Numerous celebrities from the entertainment industry rushed to the hospital for self-testing overnight. I could not help but exclaim in astonishment. Previously, I had wondered why my curses against Zheng Xiangnan had seemingly had no effect on him. It turns out his health was already compromised. Now it finally comes to light. In retrospect, the earlier incident involving a certain Madagwo actress who committed suicide by carbon monoxide poisoning, leaving behind a lengthy accusatory letter against Zheng Xiangnan and others, had already signaled trouble. With Zheng Xiangnan's reckless behavior, it was hardly surprising that calamity would follow. However, while I could understand the actress seeking self-testing, I was baffled by the involvement of male celebrities as well. If love endures over time, does it truly matter the identities of the parents? I could only lament. I had thought the entertainment scene in Tangwo was chaotic enough, only to discover that Madagwo's was even more tumultuous. I then instructed Xiao Ji to initiate a live broadcast. The moment I appeared on screen, the millions of viewers who had been eagerly waiting perked up, their fingers dancing across their screens. The barrage of comments instantly exploded. Chapter 326. This is now utterly incomprehensible. Another correct usage of innate skill. Here we go. The broadcast is live at last. Pei Shanshan has kicked the bucket. Lin Shen, did you know? What do you mean kicked the bucket? Haven't you seen the news? Even if Pei Shanshan isn't dead, she will never be the same again. Lin Shen, confess honestly, did you send the assassin? Life is unpredictable. We must cherish the present. Just yesterday, Pei Shanshan was still gifting Lin Shen, and now she has gone. The above is correct. One must revel in life's triumphs. I'm about to confess my feelings to my girlfriend's best friend. From the very start of the live broadcast, everyone was discussing Pei Shanshan. I solemnly stated, I am aware of Pei Shanshan's situation. While we can discuss it, let us refrain from excessive mockery. Additionally, Xiao Ji, please ban those who claimed I hired an assassin for 10 days. Instantly, several red notification messages appeared. The audience was delighted. Wow! Just started the broadcast, and already silencing fans. Excellent. Fans have ascended to the heavens, their powers boundless. Some truly deserve a stern reprimand. How can they tie every incident back to Lin Shen, especially when it concerns life and death? Is such talk permissible? Indeed, I, Lin Shen, merely facilitated entry. Claiming I hired an assassin is utterly preposterous. Oh, Lin Shen, why have you changed rooms? What the heck? You really did change rooms. There must be a story behind this. What happened last night? Don't ask. It was too intense. The bed couldn't withstand it. As many viewers chatted, they suddenly noticed a difference in the room's decor compared to the previous day and began to inquire. I could only explain. It had poured heavily last night, and the window in the previous room was broken, allowing rainwater to flood in. Hence I requested a room change in the middle of the night. Upon hearing this, viewers flooded the comments with, I didn't see any window issues during the broadcast. This explanation seems like a cover-up. So the water flooded the floor, huh? Lin Gu, you're incredible. I see. What do you all understand? I silently gritted my teeth, yearning to banish all these commenters. Exiting the room, I greeted the innkeeper, who bore the marks of fatigue. The innkeeper inquired, did you sleep well last night? Upon my nod, he couldn't help but chuckle. I truly don't know how you managed it. Even the aluminum frame of the window is deformed and needs replacing. As soon as he spoke, the comments exploded with, wow, it's confirmed. Lin Shen, are you still claiming the window broke on its own? Lin Shen, you're something else. Was it that intense, to the point of damaging the window? If it were anyone else, I wouldn't believe it. But Lin Shen can crush a metal business card into a ball. He could truly achieve this. Lin Shen is amazing. No wonder you ended the broadcast so early yesterday. Was that a complete liberation of your nature? Where are Sister Smart and Schwer? Sigh. Are we still hiking today, or is that out of the question? Teehee. I also wish to enjoy the raindrops falling by the window with Lin Ge, experiencing life in its truest form. In an instant, Xiaoji sprang into action, and numerous band notifications appeared. I glanced at the innkeeper helplessly. Now, this is truly incomprehensible. At that moment, footsteps echoed from the stairwell. It was Li Xiao and Shui Er. I noticed Li Xiao walking while rubbing her neck, her expression somewhat uncomfortable. I asked, "What is wrong?" Li Xiao frowned. "Perhaps the pillow was too high. My neck feels a bit uncomfortable. It was fine upon waking, but it's becoming increasingly painful." Shui Er, with wide eyes, remarked, "Really? I think it's just right." Upon hearing their remarks, the comments erupted once more. They flooded in with, "Is it even alright to elevate it? My wife also likes it elevated. Elevating does save effort." I truly admire Lin Shun's youthful vigor. I couldn't be bothered to read further. I promptly had Li Xiao sit down and said, "Let me give you a massage." Li Xiao's cheeks flushed as she nodded and took a seat. I moved behind her, placing my hands on the back of her neck, gently kneading while a warm flow of innate skill energy gradually infused her. Soon, the tension in Li Xiao's brow relaxed. Her beautiful eyes filled with astonishment. "You possess such a skill? Where did you learn it?" I casually replied, "I learned it online." Upon hearing this, comments flooded in. "Wow. Lin Shun, you clearly have the touch of a skilled artisan. I've seen this genre of films countless times, yet I can't seem to master it. The immersion is intense. I'm already envisioning applying oil to the female customers wrapped in towels. Lin Shun is indeed a treasure. He knows everything one should and shouldn't know." 3 minutes later, I withdrew my hands. "Now, try moving." Li Xiao, somewhat reluctant, eventually moved her neck and exclaimed in delight, "It truly doesn't hurt anymore." I smiled slightly. How could it be uncomfortable? This is the correct application of innate skill energy, a definite life hack. At that moment, Shui Er timidly said, "Perhaps it's because I've been pushing the cart for too long these past 2 days. I also feel some soreness in my shoulders. Could you help me massage as well?" Being part of the same team, I found it hard to refuse such a reasonable request. So, under Li Xiao's somewhat peculiar gaze, I also kneaded Shui Er's shoulders. The audience in the live broadcast was thoroughly entertained. Afterward, we were finally able to enjoy breakfast. Today's meal consisted of lamb buns. Despite the innkeeper's robust appearance, the buns were truly delightful. While eating, I received a text from an unfamiliar number. "Instructor, this is Li Yuan. I have set off ahead and will maintain a distance of about 5 miles from you. Please feel free to contact me directly in case of any emergencies." Lin Shen put away his spare phone. Xiaoli was truly a good comrade, having worked very hard. After finishing breakfast, the three of them tidied up and continued on their journey. The rain had ceased, and the view was exceptionally clear, renewing the landscape around them. With the majority of today's route being downhill, the walk felt relatively easy. In the live stream, the audience engaged in lively conversation. Some mentioned the incident involving the president of the mango factory, Gadulakai, crashing, reveling in the misfortune. However, this time, few brought up the Lin Shen law. After all, on the surface, there seemed to be no direct conflict between Gadulakai and Lin Shen. Not half an hour had passed when they encountered a long queue of vehicles ahead. As they approached the last truck in line, Lin Shen inquired of the driver, "Sir, what is causing the traffic jam up ahead?" The driver replied in a local dialect, "Last night's heavy rain caused a landslide. The road is blocked with large rocks. We'll likely be stuck here for most of the day." Upon hearing this, the live stream audience erupted in chatter. "This is it. Shui's cart can't get through." "Not necessarily. It depends on the extent of the blockage. If someone is willing to help, we might be able to lift it over. This route often experiences rockfalls during the rainy season. When I last went, I was stuck for a whole day and night before it cleared." "Everyone, don't panic. A rockfall is nothing. Lin Shen can kick all the stones off the road." Lin Shen glanced at Shui Er, noticing her worried expression, and comforted her. "It's all right. Let us check the situation first. We might still be able to get through." Shui Er nodded in agreement. The trio pressed on, and after 5 or 6 minutes, they finally arrived at the landslide site. Chapter 327, Sudden Hostility. "It's your wife who told me in secret." Many people had already disembarked, and some motorcycles had made their way to the front. The sight before them revealed that the landslide had completely obstructed the road for about 5 to 6 meters, with debris piled up to over a person's height, including several boulders with diameters exceeding 1 meter. It appeared that the landslide had occurred some time ago, and the likelihood of further collapse seemed low. A few cyclists were struggling to carry their backpacks and mountain bikes over the rocky pile. Lin Shen took a look at Shui Er's cart. Unlike the one he had modified from a wheelchair, this cart was nearly a meter wide, almost 2 meters long, and weighed close to 300 pounds. He estimated that as long as he was careful, he could manage to carry it over. He turned to the two women and said, "It shouldn't be a problem. I'll carry the cart over." Both women looked shocked. Li Xiao glanced at the cart and said, "Isn't that a bit too much?" Shuai added, "It's too dangerous. Perhaps we should wait for the road crews to clear it first." Lin Shen smiled. "Let me give it a try. If it doesn't work, we'll figure something out." With that, he began to remove his backpack and the guitar slung over his shoulder. The live stream chat exploded. "Wow, is Lin Shen really going to try to carry it over? We were just joking, but Lin Shen is actually going for it. Lin Shen, don't be reckless. This isn't your little cart. If you hurt your back, what will your smart sister and Shuai do? If I hurt my back, so what? I, Lin Shen, have been working hard day and night. If I want to lie down and enjoy myself, why not? Lin Shen is amazing. If he really carries it over, someone who has never given gifts must reward him with a donation." Just then, a scoffing voice interrupted from nearby. "Little brother, are you really planning to carry such a large cart over? Even if you want to impress the ladies, there's no need to risk your life." Lin Shen looked over and saw a well-equipped motorcycle touring group, 5 men and 5 women, all clad in thick riding gear. With 5 high-end motorcycles worth tens of thousands to over 100,000, proudly displaying the insignia of a motorcycle touring club. The 5 men were all middle-aged and robust, while the 5 women appeared younger, adorned with exquisite makeup and curvaceous figures. They were all curiously observing Lin Shen. Due to Li Xiao and Shuai wearing sun protection masks, no one recognized her. However, even just the tall figures of the 2 women caught the attention of the 5 middle-aged men, who felt a twinge of envy. Handsome looks were certainly an advantage. This seemingly less affluent young man was accompanied by 2 stunning women. Before Lin Shen could respond, one of the younger women suddenly widened her eyes and exclaimed, You are Lin Shen, aren't you? It's you. Your phone can fly." Her eyes sparkled with excitement. Lin Shen was taken aback and replied, "Yes, that's me." The other 4 women also gasped in delight. "Lin Shen? The streamer who has been frequently in the news? The super internet celebrity? It really is him. The one dubbed the reincarnation of the star of misfortune. So he is trekking here. Isn't that Li Xiao next to you? Ah, Lin Shen. I'm also a streamer, but not on Fengyin. Can we take a photo together?" The faces of the 5 middle-aged men darkened as they exchanged silent glances. All of them could afford motorcycles worth tens of thousands, and they were perceived as successful, financially free individuals. At their age, their focus had shifted to reality. Engaging in various offline social circles, they rarely followed streamers, and even when they did, it was usually only for dance performances, occasionally contributing as top donors for deeper offline interactions. Hence, even if they had vaguely heard of Lin Shen, they had not delved deeply into his background. Seeing the women so excited, like they were meeting a celebrity, naturally left them feeling displeased. They couldn't help but glance at Li Xiao and Shuai, eventually settling their gaze on Li Xiao with a somewhat heated expression. Lin Shen's expression darkened as well. What the hell does it mean? Reincarnation of the star of misfortune? Which media outlet wrote that? Are they lacking a cease and desist letter? The live stream chat was buzzing. Does that little mustache guy even know how to talk? Just because he can't, doesn't he mean Lin Shen can't? What is wrong with this guy? Why is he cursing Lin Shen? Does Lin Shen need to show off in front of beautiful women? If he wanted to, he would have done so long ago. Those women clearly aren't the originals. They're just distractions. In such motorcycle or car clubs, while most are quite good, there are always a few bad apples that spoil the reputation for everyone. The chat scrolled rapidly, with many referencing past scandals associated with Lin Shen. At that moment, one of the middle-aged men with a full beard chuckled and said, "All right, brother, I didn't realize you were a big internet celebrity. Is this really Li Xiao beside you? Meeting is fate. Let us be friends and help each other out in the future." Lin Shen glanced at the bearded man and asked, "Can you help me carry the cart over?" The bearded man's smile faltered. "I can't help with that." Lin Shen replied coolly, "Then what is the point of your words?" He then turned away, no longer paying attention to their group. He circled around the cart, contemplating the best way to carry it over. A slightly younger middle-aged man couldn't hold back any longer, his expression turning cold. "Little brother, it's just about making friends. Why not show some courtesy?" Lin Shen continued to ignore him. The anger in the eyes of the middle-aged men began to boil. One of the tallest among them scoffed, speaking mockingly. "Is it really that hard to make it in the entertainment industry these days? You're a minor celebrity now reduced to being a trekking streamer? When you start selling products, let us know, and we'll come support you." Lin Shen's expression instantly turned icy. Beneath the cloth, the expressions of Li Xiao and Shuai grew increasingly grim. In Lin Shen and Shuai's live broadcast room, countless viewers were incensed, unleashing a torrent of vitriol. Just then, a message flashed across the screen. Feng Huashuya sent a carnival gift. Feng Huashuya, Lin Shun. Ask this man if his name is Zhao Han. Tell him I am his wife, Zhang Lu. He must call me immediately. Lin Shun, hearing a prompt from Xiao Ji, turned his gaze to the comments. A peculiar expression crossed his face. Approaching the tall man, he inquired, Zhao Han? The tall man was taken aback, while the others exchanged bewildered glances, unable to fathom how Lin Shun suddenly knew the man's name. Zhao Han widened his eyes, stuttering. How do you know my name? Lin Shun replied earnestly. Your wife told me in secret. Zhao Han. Chapter 328. There's something even more ruthless. With no path ahead. It's time to surrender. As Zhao Han regained his composure, a rush of blood surged to his head, his face instantly flushing crimson. What the hell? My wife told you in secret. Where did she tell you, on the bed or off it, during the day or at night? The other men and women regarded Zhao Han with unusual expressions. Meanwhile, the live audience erupted in laughter. Wow, Lin Shun's words are brilliant. Ha. Those with filthy mouths deserve this treatment. Zhao Han's expression is priceless. His face is green, and his mind must be too. Come on, Lao Zhao. Take it easy, this is quite common. My girlfriend often talks about her husband beside the pillow too. Seeing Zhao Han clenching his fists in agitation, Lin Shun smiled lightly and said, now you can feel what it's like when others don't speak to you nicely, can't you? Zhao Han was momentarily stunned, then sighed in relief, saying, so you were deceiving me? I thought my wife wouldn't know you. He wanted to say more, but the woman who had previously claimed to be a streamer couldn't contain herself any longer and grabbed Zhao Han, demanding, Zhao Han, explain yourself. Didn't you say your wife had died long ago and that she left you a fortune? Were you lying to me? Zhao Han's complexion shifted. He had no idea that his wife was watching Lin Shun's broadcast. He quickly grasped the woman's hand and soothed her. Xiaoli, let me explain. Although she isn't dead, we truly have no feelings for each other anymore, and we are discussing divorce. Xiaoli appeared dissatisfied with this explanation, twisting her waist and displaying a displeased expression. This unexpected revelation had the live audience buzzing with excitement. The comments section erupted with praise, and many were interacting with Feng Huashuya. Lin Shun's gaze toward Zhao Han was filled with sympathy, realizing that Zhao Han was about to dig his own grave further. He stated seriously, I did not deceive you. Zhao Han, who was just about to comfort Xiaoli, froze in his movements and looked at Lin Shun with confusion. Lin Shun pointed at the live streaming phone and said, your wife happens to be watching my broadcast, and she recognized you. Let us just say your luck is rather unfortunate. Zhao Han's eyes widened as he glanced over just in time to see a comment from Feng Huashuya. Zhao Han, do you wish for death? Didn't you say all the members of the motorcycle club you joined are men? Who is the woman beside you? When did I die? Since you married into the Zhang family, have I ever mistreated you? You lost millions in business. And did I ever say a word? I manage the company daily, working like a dog, and this is how you repay me. The sheer number of exclamation marks indicated Feng Huashuya's escalating fury. The audience was in stitches. Wow, I can't stop laughing. Lin Shun's live stream has turned into a large-scale infidelity reveal. Who would have guessed Feng Huajie is actually a wealthy lady? Zhao Han is finished. Being able to watch Lin Shun's live stream during working hours, it's obvious Feng Huajie must be a big boss. Feng Huashuya, don't be upset. He isn't worth it. Look at me, I graduated from a sports school, I'm in great shape, and most importantly, I'm loyal. People can drive you mad. I too wish to marry into a wealthy family. Age and gender are not issues. Interested parties can message me privately. Upon seeing the comments from Feng Huashuya and the others, Zhao Han's face turned as pale as a ghost, panic filling his eyes, and his head buzzed. After several seconds, he finally reacted and hastily pushed Xiaoli away. She gasped in surprise, nearly falling if not for someone catching her. In a state of confusion, Zhao Han stared at Lin Shun's live stream, his lips trembling as he stammered, wife, let me explain. However, in his panic, he stuttered for several seconds without crafting a reasonable explanation. Instead, he was seized by the already frantic Xiaoli, who began to hit him wildly, shouting in distress. Li Xiao and Schwerer cast scornful glances at Zhao Han. The four middle-aged men accompanying Zhao Han were likewise dumbfounded. They were good friends who knew Zhao Han's background well. He had previously been a construction worker until he was unexpectedly noticed by a female boss of a listed construction company, and before long, he had married into wealth. Little did he know that this incident would expose him completely. The female boss had been cautious before their marriage, having them sign a prenuptial agreement. It seemed he might end up leaving with nothing. In fact, many in their circle had similar stories to Zhao Han's. At that moment, when Lin Shun glanced over, the four men quickly averted their faces from the live stream camera, particularly the bearded man, whose expression revealed his panic as he desperately tried to hide behind the others. Lin Chen couldn't help but chuckle. He suddenly felt like a teacher calling on students to answer questions. His gaze fell on the bearded man. "If you want to look at me, I'll still choose you." While listening to the intel provided by Xiao Ji, he said, "Zhuang Rongxing." The bearded man, Zhuang Rongxing, was taken aback, instinctively looking at the live stream camera and blurting out, "My wife is already dead. How do you know my name?" Lin Chen nodded, gazing deeply at him. "From a barber's assistant to marrying into wealth, supported by your wife's family, transforming into a billionaire entrepreneur. Then, your wife and 2 children died in a car accident, and you inherited her fortune. You are indeed living quite comfortably now. However, I see your dark circles are rather pronounced. Do you often struggle to sleep at night, haunted by someone seeking vengeance in your dreams?" Zhuang Rongxing's face changed dramatically, but he forced himself to remain calm, retorting, "Nonsense. I have no idea what you're talking about." Lin Chen shook his head with a smile. "You may not know, but I do. Although you have an alibi, the law enforcement agency lacks a complete evidence chain to take action against you. However, the net of justice is vast and unyielding. Encountering me is simply your misfortune." Zhuang Rongxing scrutinized Lin Chen, his gaze flickering. He could not comprehend how Lin Chen knew his name and the deeds he had committed. The events from years ago had been meticulously concealed, and with nearly 2 years having passed, even the law enforcement agency could not touch him, let alone a mere online streamer. Lin Chen then turned his attention to the woman who had labeled him a jinx. The woman flinched, instinctively hiding behind Zhuang Rongxing, her expression betraying her anxiety as she asked, "Why are you looking at me?" Lin Chen stated seriously, "Earlier, you claimed I was a jinx. I must correct you. Such statements are mere slander. However, in certain cases, I can indeed be considered a nemesis to some wrongdoers. The wrongdoers I speak of include Zhuang Rongxing and you, his late wife's assistant, now his personal secretary." He continued, his tone somber. "Your path ahead is already cut off. It's time to surrender." Zhuang Rongxing and the woman beside him turned pale simultaneously. The live stream chat exploded with comments. Chapter 329. The net of heaven is vast. The true nemesis of evil. Is this for real? Can you really stumble upon a murderer? Is what Lin Chen said true? The death of Zhuang Rongxing's wife and children was not an accident? Are there truly such cruel people in this world? I remember this incident made the news before. The protagonist was this man. Many people said that the deaths of that mother and child were suspicious. But in the end, it all went unresolved. A tiger does not eat its cubs. If this is true, Zhuang Rongxing is truly despicable. He doesn't even spare his own flesh and blood. Scum. He deserves to die? Unbeknownst to them, a large crowd of curious tourists had gathered around. Upon hearing Lin Chen's words, they were equally astonished, pointing at Zhuang Rongxing and the woman beside him. At this moment, Xiaoli ceased pursuing Zhao Han. Compared to Zhuang Rongxing's predicament, their issues seemed trivial. The others in the group exchanged glances, their expressions shifting as they discreetly distanced themselves from Zhuang Rongxing and the woman. Under the scrutiny of numerous eyes, Zhuang Rongxing began to sweat profusely. He forced himself to remain composed and exclaimed, "You are the one spreading slander. I don't know where you heard these rumors. If you have evidence, report me to the town security bureau. If you cannot produce evidence, I will definitely sue you for defamation." At that moment, Lin Chen's backup phone rang, eliciting a surge of excitement among the countless male viewers in the live stream. Lin Chen glanced at his phone and unzipped a downloaded file. Inside were over a dozen short videos. He randomly selected the most recent one, positioning the phone screen towards Zhuang Rongxing and the woman. Simultaneously, the live stream camera adjusted its angle, allowing innumerable viewers to witness the video content. The scene unfolded in a bedroom. A woman in casual attire sat nervously in front of the camera. She was the woman beside Zhuang Rongxing. With a pale face, she held her identification card and stated, "My name is Meng Xiaona. My ID number is. I am here to formally accuse Zhuang Rongxing, the president of the Phoenix Group in Qianzhong City, of orchestrating the murder of his wife and 2 daughters." Upon hearing this, Zhuang Rongxing's expression shifted dramatically. He glared at the woman beside him with ferocity, trembling uncontrollably. Meng Xiaona turned ashen, instinctively retreating. She could not fathom how this video had fallen into Lin Chen's hands. Zhuang Rongxing then turned sharply to Lin Chen, shouting, "Do not release it." He lunged for the backup phone. Lin Chen remained unfazed, gripping one of Zhuang Rongxing's fingers and twisting it backward. Zhuang Rongxing let out a pained cry, collapsing to his knees. In the video, Meng Xiaona continued. Despite confirming that the vehicle still had brake issues, Zhuang Rongxing persisted in using it daily until 6 months after purchasing it, when he allowed his wife, Chu Yun, to use it for commuting. During this period, while I was working as Chu Yun's assistant, I inadvertently discovered the brake problem but was deceived and bribed by Zhuang Rongxing and did not inform Chu Yun. A month later, while picking up the children from school, the brake suddenly failed, causing the vehicle to crash off an overpass and plunge into a river, resulting in the deaths of the three of them. After the incident, I was filled with dread. Yet Zhuang Rongxing assured me that the town security bureau would uncover no leads and would not be able to convict him. He even promised to marry me 6 months later. However, nearly 2 years have passed since the incident, and not only has he failed to marry me, but he has also taken another woman. I feel that Zhuang Rongxing has contemplated killing me. Just a day ago, he invited me to travel with members of his motorcycle club along National Highway 318. I believe he may be seeking an opportunity to make me meet with an unfortunate accident. If I were to die on Highway 318, it would undoubtedly be Zhuang Rongxing's doing. I urge the town security bureau to bring this monster to justice. The crowd erupted in a frenzy, their eyes filled with fear and hatred as they turned to Zhuang Rongxing. His face twisted in rage, he shouted while enduring the pain of his nearly broken finger, and swung a fist toward Lin Chen's abdomen. Lin Chen retaliated with a kick, sending Zhuang Rongxing flying 2 meters away. Immediately, several justice-minded tourists stepped forward, restraining him. Others retrieved ropes from their vehicles and quickly bound him. Lin Chen turned to Meng Xiaona and asked, "Do you have anything else to say?" In truth, it was unnecessary for her to speak. The numerous videos she secretly recorded of Zhuang Rongxing admitting to his crimes would suffice for the town security bureau to follow the leads to the truth. Moreover, you are aware of the kind of man Zhuang Rongxing is. He is already contemplating your demise, so why continue to shield him? Upon hearing the last sentence, Meng Xiaona's mental defenses crumbled, and she buried her face in her hands, sobbing, "I confess. I am willing to testify against Zhuang Rongxing. I can't endure this any longer." Wah! Those surrounding them were moved by the scene, reflecting on the countless individuals harmed by greed throughout history. At that moment, Lin Chen's backup phone rang again. He glanced at it and stepped aside to answer. Inside, he heard Li Yuan's voice. "Instructor, I have already notified the town security bureau in Litong. Officers from the nearest post will be arriving shortly." Lin Chen replied affirmatively and hung up, returning his gaze to the live stream. The chat had erupted into chaos. Wow! Lin Shun is incredible. Is he sending 2 more to jail? Zhuang Rongxing has made me fearful of marriage. How could he commit such heinous acts? This man is undoubtedly a wolf. If he hadn't sought to eliminate Meng Xiaona, compelling her to record those videos for self-preservation, this case would have likely gone unresolved. I have learned my lesson. I have endured my wife for far too long. She finds ways to argue with me every day. Tomorrow, I will order her an electric car. She will surely be touched. I just want to know how Lin Shen managed to acquire such covert videos. Don't ask. There are all sorts of people in the live stream. It's said that a mysterious individual sent the video to Lin Shen out of a sense of justice. Indeed, people tend to associate with their kind. First Zhao Han, then Zhuang Rongxing. None of them are good people. The next should be that little mustache guy, right? As Lin Shen pondered how to explain the source of the video, he noticed the chat and nodded. Indeed. A viewer who was watching my live stream recognized Zhuang Rongxing and discovered this video file among the leaks from a hacking incident. He may have been fearful of retaliation and chose not to make it public, instead sending me the link and password. In truth, upon learning about Zhuang Rongxing's identity and the cases he was involved in, Lin Shun had employed his mind-reading abilities. By skillfully guiding the conversation, he gleaned the truth from the chaotic thoughts of Zhuang Rongxing and Meng Xiaona. This included the address and password where Meng Xiaona had uploaded the videos for safekeeping. He then had Xiaoji download them, resulting in the subsequent events. As Lin Shen finished explaining, the chat scrolled rapidly. Wow, it's true. Lin Shen's live stream is indeed a treasure trove. All kinds of people are present. The security of the hack is indeed poor. I often see many leaked videos on forums, with daily updates in bulk. My hard drive is almost full. To the person above, wishing you a peaceful life. I have been out of the organization for a long time and humbly request a mysterious address. I once saw a news article about someone eagerly downloading a leaked video, and at first glance, it seemed to resemble his girlfriend. The immersion was intense. Upon closer inspection, it turned out to be his girlfriend. Not to mention, there are now a plethora of indoor cloud monitoring systems. I just can't fathom what kind of person would install surveillance in their bedroom. The direction of the barrage quickly tilted. Numerous mysterious address codes were incessantly flooding the screen. Lin Chen's expression darkened as he instructed Xiao Ji to ban all those spamming codes. His gaze then shifted to the remaining 3 middle-aged men, who were no longer exuding their initial bravado. Their faces had turned pale, and their legs felt weak. These were not mere broadcasters. They were akin to the Grim Reaper. No wonder Meng Xiaona had previously referred to him as a harbinger of doom. Who could withstand this? When Lin Shun had claimed to be the bane of evil, they had laughed. Now, they could only weep. Lin Chen's gaze finally settled on the first to speak. The man with the small mustache. Just as he was about to speak, the middle-aged man, terror-stricken, collapsed to his knees. Without uttering a word. Oars. 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 3 resounding bows. Chapter 330, No Innocents Remain. Some lies, when repeated, become truths. This scene utterly bewildered Lin Shun, prompting him to step aside. The audience in the live stream was equally startled. Wow, how guilty must this person feel? Lin Shun hasn't said anything, yet he's bowing. This is hilarious. I've never seen anyone bow during a live stream. Wow, that bow is truly authentic, louder than my wedding bows. Brother, not yet. It's not even New Year. The man with the small mustache raised his head, his forehead bloodied, a line of crimson trailing down. Lin Shun looked at him in disbelief and said, "Get up quickly, what are you doing?" The man, nearly in tears, pleaded, "Brother, I swear I haven't done anything heinous. I haven't killed my wife or children, nor have I cheated." Upon hearing this, the viewers in the live stream were incredulous. Why was he kneeling if he had done nothing wrong? He claimed innocence. Yet his body betrayed him? At that moment, Lin Shun suddenly heard Xiao Zhi's voice in his ear. After a brief pause, he pulled out his spare phone to check a few things. When he looked back at the man with the small mustache, his expression had shifted. Calmly, he stated, "But you did drive drunk and kill someone 4 years ago." At this revelation, the man's face drained of color. His eyes wide with disbelief as he stared at Lin Shun. The atmosphere around them erupted in chaos. There was no need for further inquiry. Just by observing the man's expression, it was evident that the matter was indeed true. Lin Shun continued, "That was a homeless person, and the incident occurred on a stretch of road devoid of surveillance. It was late at night, and it was pouring rain. You disposed of the body at a construction site belonging to your company, digging a hole to bury him. However, you failed to notice that the construction crew had installed a camera near the area where you were digging. Everything you did was witnessed by a worker on night duty. Instead of reporting you, he opted to extort you for $1 million and subsequently disappeared with his family. For the past 3 years, he has made you transfer $1 million each year while you have been secretly searching for his whereabouts. Am I correct, Fang Hong?" Fang Hong's lips trembled, his face devoid of color. He never anticipated that Lin Shun would unearth the deepest secret he had buried within. Were it not for this secret, he would not have been so frightened as to kneel and bow at Lin Shun's mere glance. At that moment, he realized he was finished. As soon as the authorities arrived at the construction site and excavated the ground, they would surely uncover evidence, ultimately leading back to him. Lin Shun spoke softly. "Are you curious as to how I know all of this so well?" This question piqued not only the curiosity of the man with the small mustache, but also that of countless viewers in the live stream. Lin Shun picked up his spare phone, opened the back end of Feng Yin, and clicked on a private message, displaying it before Fang Hong. The text was densely packed. The man stared at it for several seconds, his mind reeling, utterly dazed. He then slumped to the ground, dejected and resigned. Lin Shun held the phone up to the live stream camera, allowing everyone to see the text. It was indeed a message from someone who recognized Fang Hong, detailing the entire incident, along with a link. The sender was the daughter of the extortionist. In her account, she explained that although their family had received a considerable amount of money from Fang Hong over the years, they had lived in constant fear. Especially upon learning that Fang Hong had been sending people to inquire about their whereabouts, they were terrified of an unknown assailant suddenly appearing at their door. In this information age, with cameras everywhere, and the necessity of identification for mobile cards, bank accounts, and hotel stays, it would not be difficult for Fang Hong to track them down if he were determined. Moments earlier, when Zhao Han and others appeared on the live stream, the woman had recognized Fang Hong at first glance. Realizing that many had utilized Lin Shun's platform to combat evil, she ultimately resolved to follow suit, to reveal the truth and rectify the wrongs. Even if it meant facing legal repercussions, she no longer wished to live in guilt and fear. Thus, she swiftly sent Lin Shun a private message, including the link to the saved video, expressing her gratitude for Lin Shun's unwavering dissemination of positive energy, which had prompted her and her family to awaken and change their ways. After sending the message, she intended to contact the authorities to report the incident. However, neither the woman nor the viewers in the live stream were aware that she was the first true whistleblower in Lin Shun's live stream. To be honest, upon receiving Xiao Zhi's reminder and seeing the private message, Lin Shun felt an unusual sensation. Some lies, when spoken repeatedly, surprisingly materialize. Yet, this was ultimately a positive turn of events. In the future, if he encountered any issues, claiming someone had reported him via private message would likely raise no suspicions. Meanwhile, the barrage in the live stream erupted once more. Wow, there truly isn't a single innocent one. This woman is commendable. At least she didn't fall into the abyss. Commendable? She's just afraid of being caught by Fong Hong. That money comes too easily. I just want to know how many years one would get for drunk driving, manslaughter, and corpse disposal. As a law student, let me put it this way. For someone like Fong Hong, 10 years would be a bargain. A life sentence wouldn't be unjust. Next. As the barrage culminated, countless viewers eagerly typed next. This live stream was indeed more thrilling than a crime drama. Although the whistleblower had mentioned reporting to the authorities, Lin Chen still decided to call Zhong Wenzhou. After briefly explaining the situation, he sent over the downloaded video. Zhong Wenzhou joked, "Lin Gu, if you keep this up, people will really think you are an undercover agent for the authorities in the live streaming world. When you arrive in Badong County, they must present you with a banner." Lin Chen replied helplessly, "I don't want this either, but my live stream is filled with so many aspiring whistleblowers." After hanging up, Lin Chen turned to the last two individuals from the travel club. They were on the verge of tears. One of them quickly defended himself. "My family runs a logistics company. We are genuinely conducting business and have never done anything immoral." Yet, as he spoke, he found himself faltering under Lin Chen's calm gaze. Suddenly, with a firm resolve, he declared loudly, "All right, I confess. During my last visit to my wife's family, I impulsively inhaled the scent of the clothes her sister had changed out of. Aside from that, I have no regrets about anything else." Upon uttering this, a wave of laughter and jeers erupted from the crowd of onlookers. "You sniffed someone else's clothes, and yet you claim to have no regrets." At that moment, the charming woman accompanying him blushed, tugging at his sleeve, her expression shy as she said, "Brother-in-law, perhaps it's best not to mention such things." Lin Chen was taken aback, as were the surrounding spectators, all wide-eyed in disbelief. Chapter 331. Mutual Curses, Quite Sinister. A guest arrives in a foreign land. Oh my goodness. This guy did something I've always wanted to do but never dared to, and he has the audacity to say it out loud. That's impressive. I misjudged him. He's a bold one. Clearly, this was a long time ago, and he has evidently succeeded since then. This brother is finished. With over 100 million viewers in Lin's live stream, if just one person recognizes him, he'll be in for it. What does it matter? I think this guy is just being true to himself. If things go south, he can always divorce and remarry. It doesn't matter who. As long as he doesn't want to part with his mother-in-law. Lin Chen felt utterly speechless. What kind of situation was this? Strangely enough, through his mind-reading abilities, he discerned that this man genuinely felt no remorse after confessing. Beside him, Li Xiao and Schwerer were equally taken aback. After exchanging glances, they both blushed inexplicably and averted their gazes. Lin Chen then turned his attention to the last individual. This man, the most robust among the five, despite being clad in cycling attire, exhibited well-defined muscles. He appeared conflicted, ultimately sighing, "If I must confess, does secretly enjoying wearing women's clothing count?" Upon hearing this, those in the crowd closest to him instinctively took a step back, their eyes now tinged with fear. None of these five seemed to be of sound mind. It truly was a case of birds of a feather flocking together. In the live stream, a flurry of comments flooded in. "What the heck? Impressive. That doesn't count. I can relate. Actually, I feel the same way." Lin Chen felt a twitch in his eye, losing interest in this person. At that moment, Zhao Han, who had just finished a phone call with his wife, returned with a pale complexion, glaring at Lin Chen with a look full of resentment. Fists clenched, but ultimately suppressing the urge to strike. Moments later, 3 vehicles from the town security arrived, promptly placing Zhuang Rongxing and Fong Hong in silver bracelets. Lin Chen sent the relevant evidence to the officers' phones. One officer, seemingly briefed in advance, glanced at Schwetter's cart and asked, "The construction vehicles for clearing the road are still on their way. Would you like us to help lift it over?" Lin Chen pondered for a moment and nodded in gratitude. Then, under the watchful eyes of many skeptics, he slipped beneath the cart, supporting its aluminum frame with his back, and slowly stood up. A chorus of astonished exclamations erupted from the surrounding crowd. The 3 officers steadied the cart on either side and at the rear, synchronizing their movements with Lin Chen as they ascended towards the rocky slope. Zhao Han wore a gloomy expression, fixated on Lin Chen's back, muttering under her breath, "Fall, fall, fall, break, be crippled, die, suffer from paralysis and incontinence, unable to care for oneself." Thank goodness he did not possess the curse of doom. Otherwise, he would surely wreak havoc upon the world. Little did she know, Lin Chen had extraordinary hearing. Even after walking 5 or 6 meters away, he could still hear her mutterings. He scoffed inwardly, thinking, Who is she cursing? That's quite the vicious curse. She has no idea that I'm the master of curses. He silently began to reciprocate her curses. The three assisting officers suddenly felt a chill sweep over them, unable to suppress a shiver. After several seconds, Lin Chun and his companions carefully carried the cart, climbing over the pile of rubble, moving forward gradually. The pace was primarily hindered by the three officers, who were cautious not to be toppled. Were it solely Lin Chun, he would have already sped ahead. Li Xiao and Schweder appeared tense, simultaneously warning, "Be careful." Half a minute later, amidst Zhao Han's resentful gaze and continuous curses, Lin Chun successfully navigated the landslide area. After a few more steps, he crouched slightly, allowing the cart to rest steadily on the ground.